Oh, those Canes are ready. Last year's stumbles are in the rear-view mirror for Miami as they take the field here. And they know that the best is ahead of them. And they can get there a lot faster with a huge win today as a wildly talented Aggie squad awaits them as you're watching the ACC on ESPN. So glad you're with us for what is only the second time an SEC team has played Miami here at Hard Rock Stadium. Both teams cruise through week one with ease. Number 23 A&M here at the Canes as we say good afternoon, everybody. Thrilled you're with us. Joe Tessitore alongside Jesse Palmer. And just forget what you know about these two teams from last year. They have upgraded with new rosters, with some new coaches, and definitely a new attitude.
Both teams think they're a lot better than last season. So this game really is a bit of a litmus test, right? You're right. New faces in the staff, a lot more talent through high school recruiting and the portal. Both teams on paper look a lot better from a talent standpoint than a year ago. And look, the game's not going to determine the conference championship race for either team. The loser's not out with the national championship picture, but you still kind of feel like this game is a barometer to find out how much these programs have taken that next step forward.
Hey, last year A&M got all the hype because they had the #1 recruiting class. This year that group has matured, especially on the defensive line.
I think this D-line has a chance to be really, really special. And they've signed a lot of blue chip guys these last couple years, and while they went through some growing pains last season, when you watch the first game this year against New Mexico, you could really see the potential of a lot of these guys. It starts with Walter Nolan inside. The #1 rated recruit out of high school a year ago, 290 pounds. Look at the athleticism and agility, fighting through the cut block and making a play in the backfield. Then you go to Shamar Stewart, a guy outside 6'6", 285, could play tackle or end. Watch this speed as he chases down the receiver on a reverse. Don't focus on the horse collar, people. Focus on the athleticism. And then you've got Shamar Turner. How does a guy 6'4", 290 pounds bend like this, dip low, keep his feet, and make a play? This D-line for Texas A&M, they are a key to their entire season. They have got to be able to get after Miami quarterback Tyler Van Dyke today.
Miami has a much improved offensive line, of course tasked with protecting TVD. Katie.
Tyler Van Dyke, he told me he's happier and he's healthier this season. The latter just took time. The first took trust. Trust between a head coach and his quarterback. When Mario Cristobal moved on from Josh Gaddis this offseason, Van Dyke said it was scary not knowing who his third offensive coordinator would be. But Cristobal made it a point to involve Van Dyke in the hiring process, so much so he asked Van Dyke to meet with some of the candidates. Cristobal said he wanted Van Dyke to have a say in the decision that was going to impact him most. Enter Shannon Dawson. His version of the air raid is not only quarterback friendly, it gives Van Dyke a freedom to make his own decisions on the field, something he feels like he excels at, Tess. And through this new partnership, TVD has found joy playing the game again, and it shows.
Yeah, last year, Katie, there was a massive adjustment period with a new quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator, then Josh Gaddis, a struggling offensive line as well, and then the injury he had to deal with, and now Shannon Dawson steps in what is a very early season, potentially impactful game for both squads here. You get the feeling that the winner today just gathers huge momentum.
I was going to say that's so important in building confidence early in the year, especially when you see what's coming down the road for both of these programs. This is really, I think, a big game for fans out there of both teams, but also for these players and these coaches themselves to just see, hey, just how far have we come? We think we're really good. We're going to find out today in this incredible test in week 2.
Texas A&M won the toss. They elected to defer. So Randy Bond out there to get the day started under the sunshine of South Florida as Brashard Smith is back to return for the Canes, and Xavier Restrepo will have it on the return here. Excellent coverage as the 12th man does his job. That's Sam Matthews, of course, the famed 12th man. He bulked up as a linebacker, got the honor to wear the famed jersey, and does his job.
Sam Matthews is just lined up in the middle of this kickoff team. He runs right down the middle of the field and makes the tackle on a very good open field runner in Xavier Restrepo. He was voted the 12th man for the entire season, plays a big, big role on this team and makes a big play early.
And with that, Miami will start the day at the 11-yard line. Tyler Van Dyke flanked by Henry Parrish, the transfer from Ole Miss, who had 90 yards and a touchdown last week. Parrish will open up the day, trying to wiggle his way for 2 yards as Torian York with the tackle.
Now, watching tape on Van Dyke, you can see why a couple off seasons ago, a lot of people were talking about this dude being a first-round pick. He's the prototype pocket passer, 6'4", 230, tremendous arm talent, can get it out of his hands quickly. The biggest key, this offensive line has to be able to give him time against that athletic defensive line from Texas A&M.
Not the #1 offensive tackle recruit in the country playing right tackle, Francis Maui-Noah. 2nd and 8. Van Dyke as Parrish out of the backfield, unable to escape. The first man there was Fadil Diggs.
Well, there's a lot of speed on this Texas A&M defense. They've got dudes that can go sideline to sideline, and they're trying to set Miami up in as many 3rd and long situations like this as they can. You see Shamar Turner there. You just saw Fadil Diggs. These are some of those highly recruited guys. Walter Nolan, we talked about, the #1 rated player in high school a year ago. They can win one-on-one. They're going to try and take advantage of this Miami offensive line that's got a lot of new faces and some young players, as you mentioned, Joe.
Lost a yard on the last play. 3rd and 9. Pressure up the middle. Steps up, and that's incomplete off the hands of Restrepo as Chappelle had coverage.
Restrepo's running an option route, and that is a catch he has to make. He's working up on Chappelle one-on-one, and based on where Chappelle is, he can break outside or inside. He does the right thing. The throw is on time, hits him right in the face mask. That's a play that Restrepo would like to have back.
So the good special teams coverage, then the 3 and out, and Dylan Joyce, this year's new Australian punter for Miami, out there. Of course, last year's media darling was the powerful punter Lou Headley. Anaya Smith is set to return. Oh, and they get after Joyce, and it is bouncing inside the 20 and retreating near the line of scrimmage. As A&M special teams is off to a tremendous start.
There was just a jailbreak in the middle of the field. Sam Matthews got back there as well. There was like 3 or 4 Texas A&M bodies breaking through right in the middle of the field. Check this out.
Right up the middle was Ja'Day Walker, the backup receiver who plays special teams, and at 6'4" with that extra length to get to the punter.
And remember, Joe, in this matchup last year, Texas A&M was the team that made big plays on special teams, right? Remember, Miami muffed the punt return. Texas A&M jumped on it later in the game. The Aggies blocked a field goal, and here we go. Early in this game, special teams really showing up.
You cannot have a better start thanks to special teams and salty defense than the Aggies, and that is how Connor Wigman takes the field on the Miami 15-yard line. So after the block punt, Wigman out of the backfield is Daniels trying to get to the outside, and he does, and then upfield for a gain of 9. Finally rolled out by Cam Kitchens. So Connor Wigman, who's yet to throw an interception since stepping on the field as a true freshman, here in the midst of his sophomore campaign.
He was the #1 quarterback, pocket passer coming out last year as well. Started the final 4 games, looked really good, won an off-season quarterback competition with Max Johnson. He is poised, he's accurate, makes really good decisions, and as you mentioned, Joe, he just doesn't do things to lose his team the game.
Daniels straight ahead, leg drive, and it's going to be 1st and goal Aggies. James Williams able to corral him. Special teams, Ja'Day Walker had the block punt and now looking to cash in. And doing so is Wigman. The touchdown run for the Aggies quarterback after Ja'Day Walker came surging in for the block punt that served this thing up on a silver platter.
It's the perfect read by Wigman on the zone read. He's king the outside linebacker, Bissaint, right over here. As soon as he screams down, he's now keeping it and taking it to the outside. Picture perfect. Nice job blocking downfield at tight end by Jake Johnson. And hey, sudden change situation because of the big play by special teams, and you make it pay off with a touchdown.
And Randy Bond caps it with the extra point. The defense did their job. Special teams has been firing here in South Florida. This is how they set it up. Ja'Day Walker, the transfer from Grand Valley State. And then the offense just strutting right in with Connor Wigman for the rushing touchdown. They're the two special team stars right there. Sam Matthews, the 12th man, and then Ja'Day Walker, who had the block punt. But what a tone setter it was for the 12th man to open up this game.
Oh, you need to be firing on all cylinders. To win a game like this, it's not just offense and defense. Special teams has to show it. I was telling you earlier about Tyler Van Dyke. Watching him on film, there's always one or two times that I stop the play, rewind it, because I'm like, how did he fit that football in? That throw there to the tight end on 2nd and 26. He's got the arm talent. He can do it under duress. This was in this game last year on the wheel throw. And then last week, using his eyes, looking off safeties. You cannot walk the ball to Xavier Restrepo any better than that throw right there. Everybody knows this guy has talent. The biggest keys this season, this offensive line has to do a better job keeping him upright. And you just hope the marriage with Shannon Dawson as the new offensive coordinator is going to highlight the things he does best, which I think it will.
DVD on first down does have time, but he's going to check down to Parrish, and Parrish gets the outside angle. Excuse me, Jacoby George was the check down as he's able to get that outside angle and go for 4 yards. Van Dyke to Jacoby George. Here's Parrish as he's going to be close to that line again.
There's a lot of RPOs in Shannon Dawson's offense where they call run plays, but they attach routes outside, and it's on Tyler Van Dyke to decide, am I handing it off or are we throwing it? It puts him in control.
3rd down and 1. Parrish again, and Parrish catches a seam, and it's a first down for the Canes as a flag does rain down at the 38-yard line.
They're going to get a hold on the true freshman, CC Mawinoa, at right tackle. You know, short yardage was a big problem for the Hurricanes offensive line a year ago. They were getting gashed.
Holding, offense, number 61. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, 3rd down.
So we talked about some new faces. CC Mawinoa is 6'6", 340 pounds. He was the #1 rated tackle coming out of high school, but this is a massive challenge now going up against a very athletic defense. LT Overton, oh, that was the #1 DN from last year's class. So you got #1 going up against #1 in high school, and that's why a lot of eyeballs are going to be, I think, on the right side of this Miami offensive line.
So it backs him up to a 3rd and long now. Mawinoa, listen, the kid athletically is a freak. He was #1 offensive tackle recruit in the country, but the learning curve is steep in week 2 when you're facing A&M in your college career. Here is Young as he gets 8 yards back, but they needed 10.
It's just really hard in those situations. The play sheet, it shrinks, right? If you're Shannon Dawson, when you get into 3rd and California, Colby Young is a talented guy. At 6'5", he can run. You're trying to get him to screen quickly, see if he can break a tackle, but that's the 2nd drive in a row that Miami's been in the 3rd and long situation. They're going to have to do better moving forward on 1st and 2nd down to keep those 3rd downs manageable.
So 2nd straight 3 and out for the Canes. Dylan Joyce back out there after he had his first punt blocked. Right up the middle came Walker. Anais Smith is going to plant his feet at the 25. And this time he sends a knuckler well downfield. And it takes a great bounce for Miami inside the 20, where Smith then falls on it. Well, the big story for Texas A&M this offseason was hiring a play caller, Bobby Petrino. Not just any play caller, Jess, and of course you know the head coaching experience, but recently you remember what he did at Louisville, had all the success there. Lamar wins the Heisman, and then after that Missouri State head coach, and then an interesting path this past year because he was hired to be the OC out at UNLV. That lasted a few weeks because Jimbo called and Jimbo said, I'm ready. And this was the big point of talk with A&M last year. Will Jimbo give up the play calling duties?
The job of every head coach is to do what's best for his team to give them chances to win, and they feel like handing it over to Bobby Petrino was the best thing. Doesn't mean it's easy for Jimbo Fisher, but through 1 week after scoring over 50 points in their last game out, so far this Bobby Petrino offense looking pretty good.
Wigman, pressure coming at him as they take him down inside the 10, and a flag reigns in. It was a delayed blitz as Corey Couch was involved, as was Maui Noa, Kiko Maui Noa, the older brother of CC.
Yeah, it looked like there was a false start, so the referees were trying to blow the play dead. I don't know if Miami players heard it, but you're right. Maui Noa and Couch kind of high-load Connor Wigman. It's going to be a personal foul against Miami.
There are multiple dead fouls on the play. False start, offense number 64. That's a 5-yard penalty. After it was dead, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 51. That 15-yard penalty includes an automatic first down.
Maui Noah's here coming in. This is Couch coming in right here, and those are the two culprits here on the play. A little bit of a flinch up front, a little bit of a cross dog there, and you saw just one goes low, one goes high, and Wigman's like, what are we doing?
You can hear the cascade of boos as the crowd reacting as the penalty is being walked off. Kiko Maui Noa is the older brother of the top recruit who we mentioned, CC. He transferred here from Washington State. Big part of the success they want to have on defense this year. So first down out to the 27-yard line after the penalty. Daniels on the short pitch, and Daniels out across to the 31-yard line. Mesidor with the tackle.
This is a big key for Texas A&M. They have got to run the ball and wear Miami down. A&M is a massive offensive line. They average 6'5", 321 pounds across. That's bigger than the average NFL O-line. They've got 3 big running backs in the rotation that can just beat on you. This is an offense that wants to run the football and see if they can grind Miami to a halt.
Daniels got 4 yards on that last carry. Here he goes off left tackle, puts down the shoulder, and it'll be third and about a long 2 as James Williams, the very tall, rangy safety, made the tackle.
Yeah, Texas A&M doesn't really have a Devon A-chain like they had last year. Right? You just hold your breath every time he gets the ball, thinking he might hit a home run. But they've got 3 big bruisers, and you saw that style of running that last play by Daniels. It's north-south. They get what they can get. And Miami, it's going to be interesting to watch them defensively in this game. Just see how much they have left in the tank here in the second half.
Third down and 2. Amari Daniels remains the back. He's a local kid from right here in Miami, so a homecoming. Miami Central High is where he was the star. Wigman looks over. Play clock counting down. Third and 2. May not get it off. And they were able to get the timeout as Jimbo Fisher was able to signal to the ref. And we will take that break. And the Aggies will face a third and 2 when we return to South Florida.
ABC College Football is brought to you by Taco Bell.
Hey, Jess, they are celebrating the 40th year reunion today of the '83 National Championship team, the Canes, that first national championship. Howard Schnellenberger, of course, the coach. I got things started. Remember the upset against Nebraska, the 2-point conversion that was defended with under a minute to play. You know, Bernie Kosar, I think, is in the building today, isn't he?
He was texting me earlier, Tess. He was all fired up about this game. I had a poster of Bernie Kosar.
Did you really?
Yeah, growing up as a kid, Ottawa, Canada. Poster on the door. It was an extra large poster.
Ruben Owens is the true freshman tailback here with Wigman out of the gun on 3rd and 2 off of the timeout for the Aggies. Wigman to pass, and here he is out of the backfield, and look at Owens go striding down on 3rd and 2 for a chunk play and a first down, Aggies.
Well, it's a nice job by Bobby Petrino using motion to try and affect the eye discipline. Motion's going to come this way, and everybody's kind of doing that, and then you sneak the running back out on the wheel. It's a nice job in this offense of just using a little bit of window dressing before the snap to just see if you can get some players on defense from Miami to lose focus.
That's what happened. Everybody cleared out and it was wide open for Owens. Wigman, pressure off the edge, and right in his face, he's able to get rid of it. He was looking downfield for Jake Johnson. That was Darryl Porter Jr. coming in hard, the transfer from West Virginia.
Yeah, I love the call by defensive coordinator Lance Guidry, too, right? You just gave up a big play on third down. You're going to bring the corner blitz from the top of the screen. He does a nice job staring at the receiver and not telegraphing to the quarterback that he's going to be blitzing. You see the speed as the West Virginia transfer gets in. Clean hit, just trying to kind of slow down some of this momentum the Aggies are building.
Wigman nearly lost his footing at the top of his drop, but able to get it to Owens again. You know, Wigman was a former top baseball recruit, and there are times, and they're saying that that is incomplete. That is actually incomplete, but there are times where you can see the arm angle and the off-balance stuff with him working
he's
out.
a baseball player, too. He's really good. You see it just quickening his feet up. He slipped a little bit there, but still got himself in a good position to deliver a perfect throw to the true freshman running back, Ruben Owens, out of the backfield. That's twice now on this drive. Bobby Petrino has tried to find the back out of the backfield versus man coverage.
That just got lost on Owens, and you can see the ball touched the ground before he was able to firmly secure it. So it stays 3rd down and 10 now. And they're going to use yet another timeout. So already 2 timeouts exhausted for A&M. They'll be facing a 3rd and 10 when we come back to Hard Rock. Aggies up a touchdown. Couple of teams with remedy games on ESPN Plus tonight, Jess. LSU and TCU both back in action after regrettable week 1s. You can go to ESPNplus.com or download the app. 3rd down and 10 for A&M. Wigman on 3rd down. Shallow underneath. Looked like there was contact, and yes, the penalty flag comes in as Noah Thomas was matched up with Kiko Maui-Noa.
That's a bad matchup if you're Miami on defense. They go empty, and they found a way to get that isolated in the middle of the field. And Maui-Noa, who had a big penalty at the start of this drive, with another one there.
Holding, defense number 51. 10-yard penalty includes an automatic 1st down.
That's one thing I'll say. Bobby Petrino has always been good, no matter where he's been as a play caller. He's so good at getting and creating matchups. He spends a lot of time throughout the week studying, how can I get my best players against your guys and put them in bad situations? And Noah Thomas is a 6'6" wide receiver who can run with speed, and that time getting him matched up against the middle linebacker, running over the middle of the field. Really good job play calling.
You know, I want to continue that conversation a little bit with Noah Thomas, as here is Aniyah Smith who returns after the season-ending injury a year ago, because we had a conversation with Lance Guidry, the Miami defensive coordinator, and he said, listen, the problem obviously with these Aggies receivers, especially Thomas, is yeah, they can run, but they have size, and big guys are really never covered because of the catch radius.
Yeah, you just got to kind of put it somewhere near them. Noah Thomas was thrown to 6 times against New Mexico. He caught all 6 passes for 3 touchdowns. And then you got this guy, Evan Stewart, on the other side. And then you got Aniyah Smith in the slot, and you got Moose Muhammad. I mean, there's a matchup nightmare all across the board if you're Texas A&M throwing.
I think Jaden Davis was a little slow in getting off the field, the cornerback for Miami at the end of that play. You should see them taking him over to the bench.
That's bad news too, Tess, because we just talked about those receivers and the size and speed they've got. Miami is a defense that loves to play man coverage. It's something that Lance Guidry, their D coordinator, bringing with him from Marshall last year. They love to challenge receivers at the point of attack, run with them, and make catches contested. You have to wonder, you know, they need to stay healthy back there. They need fresh bodies running with these guys, because on paper, it's not a matchup that I think favors the Hurricanes.
See Devontae Brown, transfer from UCF, out on the field now as Davis steps off. 2nd and 8 for Wigman. Daniels, short pitch. Able to get to the corner inside the 20 before he is taken out. That time hard by James Williams, but they were able to seal that right side, Jess.
I want to see Layden Robinson, the right guard. He's really the bell cow. He's a nasty player up front. He's going to pull around and get an extra body at the point of attack. Guys that are 320 pounds probably don't run a lot like that. You see just guys getting in the second level. It's a physical running game that Texas A&M employs.
He doesn't even need to touch anybody. Just his presence of coming down the field alone.
Shakes the turf.
That's right. So first down at the 15. Daniels again hits the hole well, and with that pad leverage is able to get inside the 10 as he meets up with Kitchens. And Robinson, 315-pound grad student from Manville, Texas. 2nd and 2. Daniels this time can't find anything at all, as it was Wesley Basaint with the tackle.
Wesley Basaint just wasn't blocked. He did a great job keeping his eyes downfield and making a play. Now here we go. This is a critical down early in this game. 7-0 Texas A&M. If you're Miami's defense, you've allowed them to drive the field, okay, fine. Some penalties along the way. But this would be huge if they could make a big one here and prevent them from scoring a touchdown, keeping this thing relatively close very early.
3rd down and 4. Wigman with time, shallow cross, and needs to get to the stick, but Evan Stewart was wrapped up and taken down. It was a good defensive play by Darryl Porter.
It was a great open field tackle by Porter, but you're right, Tess. If you're Evan Stewart in that situation, you got to understand where the first down marker is, catch it, and then get north. You see this again right here. This is an underneath shallow crosser. He does a good job just kind of settling down. At that point there, just get upfield and get what you can get. In high school, that might have worked. Really nice job by Porter, who's made a couple big plays on this drive. And Bobby Petrino knows it too.
And now Mario Cristobal is going to use a timeout as the Aggies came up a yard short. Evan Stewart with that reception. They had too many men on the field, Miami, and Cristobal was able to see it and use the timeout.
A lot of miscues early in this game for Miami, haven't there?
Yes, absolutely.
You think about, obviously, getting a punt block, but there's a drop by Restrepo on 3rd down. The first drive, you get a holding penalty on 3rd down, Maui Noah.
What seemed like it was going to be a manageable 3rd down, it turned into.
They were going to get it, and then in a situation like that, just a substitution error, these guys got to lock in a little bit here early.
Boy, things change from week 1 to week 2. I mean, things ramp up, obviously level of opponent, but then that hyper acute awareness that's necessary. You play on the big stage of a game like this, which is, you know, listen, it's a great matchup of SEC, ACC, power programs that don't meet up often and so much on the line. Here is Randy Bond coming in for what will be a 24-yard attempt. And with that, the Aggies are up 10-zip. Let's go down to Katie.
Yeah, quick update, Tess. Miami wide receiver Colby Young spent some time on the bike during the break. The trainers worked on his right knee for a little bit. He's been limping around here on the sidelines, and this is a guy Shannon Dawson said has to win one-on-one matchups on the perimeter for Miami to be successful today. So something to monitor as we move throughout.
Yeah, you're right, Katie. He's a special player. In their win last week against Miami of Ohio, he caught a screen pass and went 44 yards. You don't normally see big, tall receivers like him that are so good and they're so dangerous after the catch. He is a huge weapon for Mario Cristobal, Shannon Dawson, and this offense, and that's a guy that would love to get back out on the field.
Yeah, the play that you reference, I do not care about level of competition. The play that you reference is one of those where it instantly passes the eye test, where he catches a now screen and he slaloms his way and hits the accelerator.
Yeah, that's one of those plays you rewind 3 or 4 times.
That's right.
You just can't believe what you saw.
I'll remind you of what is coming your way on the ACC network. Next week, week 3, Miami is going to be in action on Thursday against Bethune-Cookman. That's a 7:30 start. And then Northwestern and that upstart Duke team at 3:30, and Clemson in action in primetime against Florida Atlantic. What'd you make of Duke the other night?
Who wants any
against
of
Clemson?
Duke right now? That's a former Texas A&M D coordinator, Mike Elko, running the show, and that was a statement. Week 1 against Clemson, a team nobody gave the Blue Devils a chance to beat. They were physical. They deserved to win that game.
Did see Colby Young back in as Miami's offense is back in action. Mark Fletcher, who's a very good-looking freshman running back, can't find anything against Walter Nolan, who was the #1 defensive tackle recruit in the country a year ago.
Well, and look what he's able to do in his athleticism and his ability to fight the point of attack. He's going to take on a double team, 2 blockers right here, and he's just able to stay in his gap and then shed the blocker off and then make a tackle. You can't scheme that. What do you do? I mean, this is the talent we're talking about that the Aggies have recruited over the years, and all of a sudden, these blue chip guys, man, they're starting to grow up.
Van Dyke quickly gets it out, and George able to weave his way for a first down for Miami.
I love the play call, Joe, and it's a big win. I know it doesn't seem like much, little slip screen to the receiver, but you move the sticks. We talked about all the issues they've had early in this game. You're just trying to create some momentum here.
First down of the game for Miami. With tempo, and there it is, Restrepo in stride. Xavier Restrepo, and you just feel they had to have it. They need a juice play, Jesse.
And they needed something downfield. The offensive line did a really nice job giving Tyler Van Dyke some time, and Restrepo just wins off the line of scrimmage. It looked like he was matched up with middle linebacker Edgerrin Cooper right there. No, sorry, that's Damani Richardson at safety. Good job route running and a nice job locating his receiver.
Fletcher takes it ahead for 2.5 yards, but Restrepo goes for 48 yards.
And I love that too, right? You get the first down on the screen pass. Let's go tempo. Let's get back to the line of scrimmage. Let's keep our foot on the pedal and stay aggressive.
Year 2 for Mario Cristobal. Last year 5-7, but as we'll talk about throughout the day, he says that kind of year that you just have to have if you truly want to get better. You got to rip the bandage off. 2nd and 7. There's Parrish. Fletcher blocking. Parrish! It's going to be 1st and goal, Canes.
I'll tell you, this offensive line already looks a lot better than last year's unit. And that time they had 2 dudes pulling from the right-hand side. You had a 350-pound guard, Inez Cooper, and the true freshman, Maui Noah. We've talked about him at right tackle. And his athleticism, man, they do look a lot different up front. And how big is this for them? It's important to be able to run the football down in this area of the field when the windows are so hard to throw into.
1st and goal. Fletcher can't find much there as he was wrapped up immediately by Torian York, the true freshman from Temple, Texas. There is DJ Durkin. Like Elko, you mentioned him, goes off to Duke. DJ Durkin steps in. The well-traveled defensive coordinators had so much success. 2nd and goal. Colby Young in motion. Van Dyke, and there he is. Colby Young. Touchdown, Canes.
Well, they bring in Matthew McCoy here, a big tight end, and everybody thinks this run's coming this way. Here's Colby Young. They're going to sneak him out the back door. Really nice sequence of play calling with some misdirection by Shannon Dawson. It all got started on that screen throw, and all of a sudden now, this Miami offense coming alive.
Borregales adds the extra point. The pace, the tempo, the big play to Restrepo. And then Young brings it in. 7 plays, 75 yards in the touchdown.
let's go back to that last series, and a great job by Shannon Dawson just feeling the game and allowing it to come to him. He's being congratulated for it. Here's Restrepo at the line of scrimmage. They went tempo. Texas A&M wasn't ready for it. Tamani Richardson got run right by, and you saw the quickness, and then they got to the run game. And you see some athleticism from the right side of that Miami line. They're pinning defenders to the middle. Parrish able to use his speed to get outside, and then finally, I love the play call. 3 tight ends on the field, little play action. Find Colby Young, who's healthy. That's great news for Miami. He is a problem. And Joe and Katie, we got a ball game.
Katie?
Yeah, we do, Jesse. And you know, when Shannon Dawson first got to Miami, he said his goal was to make sure that these players knew the offense system was about them, not about him as a play caller. He said, obviously, we believe in our system, and it's withstood the test of time throughout the years. But unless these players buy into it, it's never going to be successful. He said you have to make sure that the players feel loved, appreciated, and that's when they start to play at a high level. And that message, that approach has been greatly appreciated by the Miami players.
And we've heard it from everybody we've talked to down here in South Florida. They use words like trust and freedom, and you could see it on that last drive. Listen, this game started off in a hole. It started off the wrong way. So to have that kind of drive with tempo and pace worked out well.
And it just takes one play. You'd love to see your players respond the way Miami just did offensively.
Tyler Van Dyke. Jess, his 3rd offensive coordinator in 3 years. And those are unique challenges.
No doubt. I mean, and you have to think about Tyler Van Dyke's headspace, right? You go from ACC Rookie of the Year, and everyone's talking about you being a first-round pick. You go through what happened last year under a new offensive coordinator, bad O-line play. You get hurt, you get benched. But Tyler Van Dyke had to heal this offseason, Joe. It wasn't just physically, but mentally, too. He got a sports psychologist. Right. He got off social media. Tyler Van Dyke's not going to forget how to be a good quarterback, right? You just need to have some success early this year to build that confidence, because this guy is a special player.
Here's the tap pass to Smith. Anaya Smith able to split defenders and spin just for an extra yard. Boy, he can make 5 yards look like magic.
Swiss Army knife. This guy can be used in so many different ways. Catching the football, running the football, jet sweeps. And they only had him for 4 games a year ago. But people will remember he was the go-to guy for the Aggies in this matchup early last season. And that's a fun piece to have offensively to keep defenses on their heels.
Smith takes a rest. Daniels in the backfield. 2nd and 5. Daniels probing the left side of that line, only able to get a yard, as it was Jared Harrison Hunt on the tackle, as well as Akeem Mesidor from Ottawa, Canada.
That's right, the hotbed of high school football in North America, Ottawa, Canada. Mesidor did a great job there, sticking up to the point of attack and collapsing the line of scrimmage now, setting up a critical 3rd down. In this type of situation, if you're Connor Wigman, you're expecting man-to-man coverage. You got to find your best matchup, but what a big play for this defense, right? After a touchdown, if they can create a 3-and-out right away and get the football back, all the momentum back on their side.
Crowd roaring on 3rd and 3. Wigman. Good pressure on Wigman. Flag comes down as he was trying to dump it to Daniels. And a flag is all the way back at the 24-yard line.
You could take your pick here on the center, Bryce Foster, on the true freshman right tackle, Chase Besantis. They had their hands full with all the stunning and looping up front by Miami's front.
Jason Autry heads up this SEC officiating crew today. Heck of a consultation.
Well, I think
there are multiple fouls on the play. Personal foul, face mask, offense, number 61. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 20. Those fouls offset. Repeat, 3rd down.
That's James Williams, who they got on the other side.
Well, that's the 2nd time in 2 drives that we've seen this happen. A penalty by Texas A&M, and then a personal foul penalty by Miami. Here it comes in the middle inside. Here's the face mask by the center, Foster. Besantis has his hands full outside. That's Jafari Harvey coming in late, and it's James Williams here. 6'5" safety. We got another 3rd and 3.
So if the offsetting, it's a 3rd and 3. Owens in the backfield with Wigman. Miami backs off the pressure. Wigman steps up, and the lane integrity is lost, and that is exactly what you noted he can do with his legs.
He's a good athlete, and this is a D-line that likes to slant, and they like to move guys around. But if you give this guy a lane up the middle, he's getting rid of his vision downfield. He will take off immediately if you give him that opportunity. And that's an example of the things he does to keep the chains moving, right? Just makes good decisions.
And now quickly he gets it to Johnson, and Jake Johnson goes upfield as he was carrying James Williams with him. As the final seconds will count down here in this first quarter, and a 10-yard reception for Jake Johnson. ESPN College Football returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Coach Fisher, I'll make it easy on you. How would you assess the first quarter so far?
I thought we got to a good fast start. I liked the way we covered the kick, got a block punt, converted. Wish we'd got a touchdown there. We had to stick our foot in the ground, but then they we had a really good deal on defense. They hit the one big play and then got the momentum going, but we knew it's going to be a back and forth game. They're a talented team. I like the start we've got, and on offense right now we're keeping a pretty good rhythm.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
By the way, how good is it to have the access to the coach?
I love that. Yeah, it feels, it just kind of takes you inside the mind throughout the course of the game. You don't have to wait till the end of the half or end of the game. Katie George, she has great questions.
Start of the second quarter. Wigman. That ball's incomplete as Johnson was sandwiched between defenders. Jaden Davis back in the game as Corey Flagg, the linebacker, and Davis, the corner, were merging on Johnson.
Tell you, Miami's defense has done a pretty good job here recently of getting a little bit more pressure on Wigman. They haven't sacked him, but they're forcing him to hurry up his drop and play off schedule.
Owens not going anywhere there as Jaden Davis undercuts him.
That's the second time Miami's gone to a corner blitz and they've been able to catch Texas A&M sleeping. Here he is, lined up on Evan Stewart, and he's not giving it away. Another big play in the backfield. We saw Porter do it earlier. Now that sets up 3rd and long. The athleticism of Miami's defensive line has got to show up here. We talked about A&M being big on the O-line. But Lance Guidry's unit, they're athletic and they're fast. That's got to show up here.
3rd and 11. Wigman dropping back, looking to tuck, and finding nothing. As the Catane was set there, Mesidor was chasing, and Maui Noah was holding the edge. Well defensed by Lance Guidry's group.
A nice job by Mesidor playing in the middle there. He's a defensive end on 3rd down. They move him inside, working against guards and centers, and just a nice motor getting to the sideline. How about our guy from Ottawa, Canada, Joe? Making a play somewhere. Alanis Morissette, Ottawa's very own, is jumping up and down.
Singing his praises. You really went there, Jess, but you know what? You've earned it in life. Constantino, his first punt of the afternoon. Oh, that is muffed. A&M looks to recover it. Xavier Restrepo, who changes jersey numbers to 47.
It's Edgerrin Cooper.
Was actually
jumped on it. And the second time in this game, we've seen a massive mistake on special teams. And this is what happened last year. Miami muffed a punt in that game. It really changed the momentum for Texas A&M. Mario Cristobal can't believe it.
Holding, receiving team number 5. The penalty is declined. Results of play is a 1st down for Texas A&M.
Well, we got to confirm who that was back there because they will change jersey numbers. And it was George. It was George who put on the jersey that they change into for return. So Jacoby George with the muff.
And then Edgerrin Cooper, starting middle linebacker, starting on punt team. Just Johnny on the spot, able to jump on the football. Another massive miscue by the Hurricanes now, just giving Texas A&M the football, knocking on the door.
So the second A&M drive that's starting in Miami territory, and they do so inside the 10. Wigman to the end zone, incomplete. He was looking for Jake Johnson. Boy, the special teams effect on this game.
Joe, I think on that last throw, I think he was trying to hit Max Wright out of the backfield and overshot him. And then it fell at Jake Johnson's legs. That's one that Wigman would certainly like to have back. In a sudden change situation, Miami's defense thinking they're going to run the football down here close to the goal line.
Look at this average drive start. The opponent's 45, second and goal after the muff punt was recovered. Daniels finds his way and into the end zone. Amari Daniels. Gig him.
Awesome job in the zone scheme by Bryce Foster at center. He works the nose tackle and then chips off and gets into the second level to get the linebacker, and that creates the seam right here. Block and then get up here to this level. Really nice job on the inside zone. Good communication with his right guard, Layden Robinson, and that creates the seam for the Miami native, Amari Daniels.
Special teams has played a huge factor for the Aggies. They had the block punt earlier in the game. They started it with kickoff coverage, and then moments ago, the muff. As Jacoby George, you can see, coach says we got to be tight and focused. And then Daniels, well blocked and sealed and right in with a burst. (17-7), Texas A&M from this group up front that's getting ready for kickoff coverage. But the special teams has been superb, firing off. Cooper moments ago had the recovery on the muff punt that set up the Daniels touchdown. 10-point lead for the Aggies here at Hard Rock.
Well, it's been the difference in the game, as you said, Joe. It started with Ja'Day Walker, a receiver on punt return, breaking through the middle of the field, getting a hand on the ball, and that set up Texas A&M in great field position to go score on the Wigman zone read. And then later, we just saw it. George muffing the punt, Edgerrin Cooper, Johnny on the spot, behind that big physical offensive line. And that's really the difference in this game so far. It's been a handful of plays and a handful of miscues that have made this thing 17-7 Aggies.
Tyler Van Dyke, 6 of 7 passing, 74 yards. Touchdown earlier. Mark Fletcher's going to be the running back. Very good looking true freshman who goes 6'2", 225. Fletcher will get the work. He's a big strider. When you see a huge recruit last week, he had a big touchdown where he's almost got that Derrick Henry, Eric Dickerson kind of
plays
strider.
with great pad level. He keeps them parallel to the floor and just always seems to fall forward. And I'll tell you what's crazy about him too is week one you saw him on third down, which is incredible for a true freshman to be trusted with pass pro like that. That's why Mario Cristobal believes he's going to be a special one down the road. He said he thinks maybe one of the all-time Canes greats.
Edgerrin James, Willis McGahee, Clint Porras, Frank Gore.
It goes on.
What are we doing?
On and on.
Wow. Second and so you gotta catch it on 2nd and 6. Colby Young, the big 6'5" target from upstate New York with the drop.
It's such good anticipation by Tyler Van Dyke. He's got to fit that football into a window on the curl route and get it around Edgerrin Cooper at linebacker. That's the second time he's made a big time throw and had it dropped by Miami receivers. And the self-inflicted wounds continue now, setting up a third down passing situation. And you know all of these big-time recruits up front for Texas A&M, they're going to be licking their chops here. This offensive line has to show up.
Third and 6. Here comes pressure picked up by Parrish. TBD, little drag, and going upfield is Young, and plenty more as Colby Young will move the chains.
It's an awesome play call and a nice route by Colby Young, and it forced the cornerback to get lost in the wash. You get man-to-man coming across. Watch the corner. You just can't fight through all the bodies. There's a pick, but it's incidental. Another really nice play call by Shannon Dawson. And how about Colby Young he's going to be a good one in this offense. He's made a few plays. That's a lot to have to get through if you're true freshman Javon Thomas at cornerback trying to follow a 6'5" receiver through the forest.
Parrish probing that line, not finding much, dragging Edgerrin Cooper ahead.
You know, Jesse, Shannon Dawson says Colby Young is one of those guys that just needs confidence. He doesn't necessarily believe he's as good as he is. He said once he starts believing he's elite, he'll make plays against anybody. I think they could get used to what they just saw there.
Yeah, I mean, he was a guy coming out of high school that didn't have any major scholarship offers. He was offered to walk on at Albany maybe. He ended up going the JUCO route and got here last year. He's been having to pick things up quickly, but there's no doubt his talent, man, it's off the charts.
7. Van Dyke wants to take a shot, and he gets it! Into the end zone is Isaiah Horton! Beautiful throw by Tyler Van Dyke! 52-yard touchdown!
Well, they're working one-on-one. It's Horton versus the true freshman Thomas that we just saw get beat on that drag route on 3rd down. It's a nice little double move. Watch this. He just kind of breaks down, and you see Thomas just not able to get his feet. That allows Horton to get him behind him, and there's a nice catch. We've seen a couple of drops. Great job looking it in. Tess, this Miami offense, man, they have come alive these last 2 drives. And what a job answering after the muffed punt that gave Texas A&M a touchdown. That's mental toughness.
And we talk about belief in your play caller. That's what they said, trust and belief with Shannon Dawson.
And he certainly does. TVD certainly does. And he hasn't allowed a few drops to get him in and get him down. He just keeps taking shots when they open up. And right now, man, this offense, they got it humming.
His mom, Amy, watching on. We're going to talk about Amy and her unique story when we return. 17-14, we got a good one. Miami quarterback Tyler Van Dyke, big strike moments ago, rocking that 305 in the Jewels. There's mom and dad. He comes from the affluent Connecticut suburbia of Glastonbury. There you see him with his family and his sister Hannah. Went to boarding school, played at Suffield Academy, and that was turned into a great league there, and you're seeing the talent. But here's what I like about mom, Amy, who's a successful attorney. She doesn't wear Van Dyke on the back there, Jess. She writes Van Dime, and he just threw a dime.
He's been throwing some dimes early in this game, and he's going to have to keep throwing some of those Van Dimes. Keep Miami in this one, too. Love the way TVD started this game.
Isaiah Horton with the 52-yard touchdown on the other end of it. Reuben Owens on the return. Owens, here he goes out past the 30. Katie.
You know, Tess, Amy was actually sitting for the Connecticut bar exam. She's an attorney, but she was pregnant when she was taking the exam with Tyler. She went to the bathroom during a break. Her water broke. She went back to the proctor and said, hey, what do I do about this? And they said, well, if you leave now, you'll have to sit and take it again. She said, I was already 2.5, 3 hours into it. She didn't walk away. She sat for the second half of the bar exam while in labor, finished it. Of course, she passed because she's an intelligent human being, and she lauds it over Tyler every day that you got to fight through adversity just like she fought through his labor.
Yeah, put some things in perspective, I guess, right? Next time you've thrown a couple picks, been sacked, you think you're having a bad day, a tough day. Adversity, boy, oh boy, that is incredible.
Pressure on Wigman. He's got to chuck it away as they were converging on him to Corey Couch. Was coming in hard on Connor Wigman.
Lance Guidry, the D coordinator now, he's starting to dial it up, the pressure himself to Corey Couch in the nickel position. He's coming off the left side. Nobody there for Texas A&M to pick it up, so Wigman doing anything he can just to get rid of that football.
Daniels, just about 2.5 yards there. It'll be 3rd and long. You get the sense of a momentum turn, and the crowd starts to believe. We've been here. They have an orange out here at Hard Rock. It's loud on 3rd down. Third and 8. Straight up the middle on Wigman, spins free, checks down to Daniels. He tries to get to the corner, and he's going to be just short of that line to gain as they were able to get to him with Davis and Maui Noah.
Corey Flagg at linebacker that was able to get the pressure. I don't know how Wigman stayed up on his feet on that play. Nice job just finding his release valve. And okay, here we go. Momentum back on Miami's side, but special teams again. We've already seen 2 monster plays. It looks like Restrepo's back there returning this one for Miami. You've got to catch the punt and give it back to your quarterback and offense that has scored 2 straight touchdowns in 2 drives.
First 3rd and out for the Aggies. Constantino punts it outside the numbers, and that's as good as you can get. No return, out on the hash. 9:28 to go in the half. 17-14 A&M, but the home crowd is loving what they're seeing.
Gap, Thursdays on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Glad you're with us from Hard Rock Stadium watching the ACC on ESPN. That's the look on campus down there in magnificent Coral Gables, Florida, University of Miami. Chaney able to take it ahead to the 29. What a difference the last couple drives.
Well, really, it's been Miami that's been stopping Miami. That first drive was stopped by a drop pass. The second one by a holding penalty that killed it. And they've been up and down the field the last 2 series. So I think right now, if you're Tyler Van Dyke, you're Shannon Dawson, and you're this Miami offense, you're feeling really good about the rhythm that you're in right now.
Chaney went for 5 yards. 2nd and 5. Van Dyke has 142 yards and 2 touchdowns. Trying to get to Restrepo, and finally he does, and Restrepo breaks free. And he's still on his feet out to midfield. So Van Dyke had some traffic, Jess, but gave that angle on that pump and got it to Restrepo.
I don't know how he got this around Shamar Turner coming off the edge. It's a guy that's 6'6" here. He just kind of lowered the arm angle and just, it's like sandlot football. I'll just get it to my guy, and then Restrepo does the rest. He's not as fast as he is quick. So dangerous in the open field. And remember, he missed this game last year. He had a foot injury that was bugging him all season. He is a big key for TVD in this game, especially with a D-line that can get after. You want a guy that can get open quickly and make good things happen after he has the ball in his hands.
Went for 23 yards there. Play action on 1st down. Plenty of time. And that ball falls out of the hands of Colby Young as a flag is down back at the 43-yard line past midfield. That's Francis Maui Noah, #1 offensive line recruit in the country. Originally from American Samoa, came out of IMG.
Holding, offense number 61. Offense number 61. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat, 1st down.
Well, that's his 2nd holding penalty in the game. You're going to see him 61 out here. He's lined up one-on-one on LT Overton. That's a matchup he's struggled with so far. Just getting the hands and jersey underneath the chin. That's too easy to call. And he struggled a little bit with his pass protection last week in their win against Miami of Ohio. But no doubt, this guy is a talent. Mario Cristobal, who's been around a lot of good ones, and Bryant McKinney and Cam Robinson, Jonah Williams. He knows what they look like, and he thinks Maui Noah is going to be special.
4th Miami penalty for 45 yards now. Chaney looking to keep his balance out to the outside as Damani Richardson was able to tackle.
Damani Richardson, a leader on this defense, 45 starts now, led the team in tackles a year ago, and he's one of those big physical safeties that can get in the box, get close to the line of scrimmage, and get ball carriers to the ground.
DJ Durkin, defensive coordinator.
Offside, defense number 3. With contact in the neutral zone, 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Big disruptive big man's McKinley Jackson on the inside for the Aggies.
No, I've been impressed, Tess, these last couple drives, especially with the offensive line in Miami. They were a bad unit a year ago. It's all you could say. They were giving up 3 sacks a game. Obviously, Tyler Van Dyke got hurt. They got a lot of new faces up front. Only one returning starter from a year ago went to the portal. We talked about Maui Noah. They've done pretty well giving TVD some time in the pocket to survey the field and push it downfield.
Especially that guy at center, Matt Lee, transfer from UCF. As Parrish can't find much on that left side, as making the tackle was Torian York. Very good looking true freshman.
Now we got another 3rd and long situation. So we talk about this offensive line and having to give their quarterback an opportunity to work through some progressions. There's got to be a lot of one-on-ones up front. As you know, Texas A&M is going to have their ears pinned back. DJ Durkin rotates a lot of different guys. They've got multiple 3rd down sub packages to keep guys fresh and keep pressure on the quarterback.
Third and 11. Van Dyke, big strike downfield and incomplete, as there was coverage coming in with Josh DeBerry against Jacoby George, and that brings out the flag.
Well, there's another example of the O-line giving Tyler Van Dyke an opportunity to survey the field, trying to fit the dig route in downfield.
Pass interference, defense number 28. 15-yard penalty for the previous spot, includes an automatic first down.
I mean, that is tremendous on 3rd down when you know it's going to come. Look at this. TVD's back there. He's trying to look the safety off. He's letting the in route work its way inside. And there's the penalty by the Boston College transfer. DeBerry just getting the hand up around the left shoulder on Jacoby George, trying to atone for that muffed punt return a few drives ago. But a huge penalty keeps this drive alive. And again, the momentum now squarely on the shoulders of Miami.
So first down at the Aggies' 33-yard line. And the Let's Go Canes chant starting up at Hard Rock. Play action. Van Dyke. Pressure coming after him, able to escape it, trying to turn the corner, but Shamar Stewart is so fast with that closing speed.
Well,
it was Jackson. It was McKinley Jackson the first to get in there.
And I'll tell you, McKinley Jackson just saved the touchdown for Texas A&M because Tyler Van Dyke had Xavier Restrepo wide open on a deep crossing route for a touchdown pass. If he has time to set his feet, that's going to be 6 for Miami. But Jackson on the inside, man. This is a guy at D-tackle that had 12 tackles a year ago against Ole Miss. He was able to force Tyler Van Dyke off of his spot, off his mark, and save a TD. Look at this right here up top. He's going to put that out in front of Restrepo. He's going to catch it and score.
And I feel like all these defensive linemen for the Aggies are the same. Big and can run.
Crazy.
And we're going to have a timeout used by Miami. That is the second charge timeout for Mario Cristobal. 5.5 minutes to go before halftime. A chance to tie it up or take the lead. Want to remind you that Week 1 NFL Sunday Countdown begins at 10 Eastern on ESPN. John McEnroe is going to sit down with Aaron Rodgers, talk about the big stage of New York and the bright lights. And then Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel will open up about his alcohol problems that almost cost him his NFL dreams. Monday Night Football kicks off this week with Josh Allen and the Bills taking on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. 8 Eastern on ABC and ESPN. And Monday Night Countdown crew with Scott Van Pelt will get things started at 6 Eastern. Peyton and Eli, by the way, back on E2.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at this quarterback matchup. I mean, this is must-watch television, right? 2 of the best in the league. You look at Buffalo, on their roster, top to bottom, as talented as anybody in the NFL. Not any weaknesses. And then Aaron Rodgers, that's been, to me, the biggest story this offseason. And I just think he has the mindset, the competitive fire. I think he's a guy that can thrive in that New York market.
I feel like every time I was watching the U.S. Open, I was watching him courtside. 2nd and 14. Van Dyke coming back for the ball was Colby Young as he is wrestled down near the 30-yard line.
All of a sudden, again, another clean pocket for Tyler Van Dyke to throw to. And these receivers right now are doing a nice job of working their stems and coming back to the football here. kind of in that fringe area. Texas A&M defensively, they've got to come up with something to stop the bleeding. They've given up 2 straight touchdowns on 2 straight drives.
3rd down and 6.
Wow, Miami really spreading the field here. Look at all this space right here.
There's Van Dyke. Pressure. Ball comes out and falling on it. As Miami able to recover, and we welcome everybody here to Hard Rock Stadium. Joe Tessitore alongside Jesse Palmer and Katie George, as right there on 3rd down, Tyler Van Dyke was sacked. Shamar Turner disrupting things as Miami started off in a hole thanks to Texas A&M's superb special teams. They were down 10-zip, and then the Canes were rallying back. And now on this drive, a chance to tie it up. Andres Borregales, who has a long of 55, this from 54 to tie the game. Good strike of the ball, but it just leaks out to the right. As Mario Cristobal watching his team settle in and get back to action. Glad you're with us here on what's been very interesting first half between the Aggies and the Canes. Right from the start, it was Texas A&M with special teams play that got the day going. But Miami found a little something, found a little rhythm, coming up just short with an opportunity to tie it there.
The momentum now squarely back on the shoulders of Miami. They made some plays, and Tyler Van Dyke really settling in, throwing the football. They found some explosive plays. And really, it was only Miami stopping themselves early in this game. Some special teams miscues. They had a punt block. They muffed a punt return, which led to 14 Aggie points. But finding their footing here recently.
Ruben Owens unable to get free as he was tackled by Kiko Mauinoa.
Yeah, Tesh, just a quick update. Defensive tackle Branson Dean out of Purdue. He just took his 2nd trip to the locker room. He went earlier to be evaluated for a lower leg injury, came back out thinking maybe he'd be in for the series, but they just took him back and said, let's go ahead and get you ready for halftime and see what we think for the second half.
He's the starting defensive tackle for the Canes. Connor Wigman, quarterback for the Aggies, trying to find something, pointing directions, floats it downfield, and unable to connect with the talented Evan Stewart.
It's a nice job trying to work the scramble drill. Evan Stewart saw him rolling to his left, so he turned upfield, but really nice job in coverage by Daryl Porter there. Now forcing a 3rd and long situation. We talked about this Miami D-line and their athleticism up front affecting Connor Wigman. They've got to be able to continue to do that. They're going up against a mammoth Texas A&M O-line. Can they create pressure here on a critical 3rd down?
3rd down and 8. Crowd has been loud all afternoon long here at Hard Rock. Wigman, who's yet to throw an interception in his college career. 3rd and 8. He's going to tuck and run. Flags come down as he lowers the shoulders past midfield. And we'll see if this is going to be walked back. Got an SEC crew officiating this game, led by Jason Autry.
During the run, holding, defense number 23. The 10-yard penalty is added to the end of the play and includes an automatic first down.
That's going the other way on KJ Cloyd, the linebacker for the Canes.
He's back in coverage on tight end Jake Johnson there and just kind of grabbed his shoulder a little bit as he was scrambling the scramble drill as he was working his way up the field. And man, that is a big penalty. We've seen this Miami defense have some critical penalties on critical downs here in the first half that have kept Aggies drives alive.
Wigman over the middle, right at the 30-yard line to Evan Stewart. Last week, Stewart had 115 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Joe, he is just so sudden.
Isn't he?
As a route runner. It's amazing when you watch him on film. His ability to get in and out of breaks, it creates so much separation and gives your quarterback confidence. You can see why Evan Stewart was the #2 rated receiver coming out of high school.
Remember that thriller against Alabama last year? He had 8 catches, went over 100 yards. 2nd and 1. Owens, the 5-star recruit, trying to get to that edge. Good pursuit down the line, but his leverage took him forward with Najeelik Kelly as he's able to move the chains.
Now, one guy whose name we haven't called a lot so far in this game is Big Noah Thomas, number 3.
That's right.
6'6" for Texas A&M, and this is kind of an area of the field getting close to the red zone, lined up in the slot. That size advantage and his speed to get vertical, that's a weapon for the Aggies.
Had 3 touchdown catches last week, doesn't have a catch today. Pressure on Wigman as he throws, and that worm burns in front of Noah Thomas as Jaden Davis, the corner, was charging in hard.
It's another corner blitz. That's the 3rd time they've dialed it up, and Texas A&M just hasn't had an answer. Tight ends, running backs, no one's out that way looking. And he's just coming in completely unimpeded. I think that's a play there. If you're the running back, you got to stick in and at least give him a shoulder and give him a chip and allow Wigman to step into throws. He was trying to find Thomas on that last one.
And there was some movement.
False start. Offense, number 42. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Max Wright, one of the 2 tight ends you'll see often for that guy's offense. Jimbo Fisher utilized Jake Johnson and Max Wright. That'll back them up. Second and 15 after the penalty. Wigman just hooks up with Jake Johnson in the middle. Of course, the big story for Texas A&M this offseason, Jesse, the hiring of Bobby Petrino, as Jimbo Fisher finally giving up the play calling duties, although they collaborate so much with the suggestions and the scheme.
It's got to be hard for Jimbo Fisher, right? I mean, you won a national championship at LSU as a play caller. Certainly you won one in Florida State as the head coach. And big reason why you got this job. But again, his job, Jimbo's, is to do things to help this team win. So I feel like giving it over to Petrino is the best thing to do.
3rd and 9. This is Owens out of the backfield, but that was floating to him, and Jaden Davis is able to make the tackle. Timeout is used by Miami. 62 seconds remaining in this first half. A good one here at Hard Rock. We'll take a quick break and be right back to South Florida. As you know, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to that university's general scholarship fund. We thank Allstate for that. And we'll see if that fund gets added to right now with Randy Bond on the field for the Aggies, trying to push the lead to 6.
Remember, Joe,
made from 24 earlier.
Last week against New Mexico, he had a kick blocked.
And this just stayed to the right. Now let's check in with the studio and Kevin.
Joe, thank you so much. State Farm halftime report just minutes away. Dan Orlovsky, Booger McFarland, Kevin Nagant here in Colorado. Boulder is buzzing right now.
Well, it's buzzing because the quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, almost 400 more yards passing, and this team is starting to build some momentum.
Highlights coming your way, and game day will be in Colorado next weekend. Meanwhile, when you take a look at Miami, special teams, a huge storyline in this game.
It's led to 14 points for A&M. The muffed punt that gives them the short field, and then the blocked punt. If Miami cleans it up, they should run away with this football game, but they got to get it done.
Georgia looked good. Ohio State looked good. Notre Dame looked good. Highlights coming your way, as well as in-game highlights as Michigan rolling right now. Tess, back to you.
Thank you, Kevin. Kevin, Booger, and Dan just making the point. And it was right from the start. The opening kickoff, the tone was set by the special teams for the Aggies. The 12th man himself, Sam Matthews, made a big stop. Van Dyke trying to get it out to Parrish, and that was blown up right away by Fadil Diggs.
Yeah, you know, listen, I think Tyler Van Dyke has earned the right in this situation now, in a 2-minute situation without timeouts, to be aggressive and see if you can at least steal a field goal at the end of the half. But that pressure coming off the edge by Diggs, I'll tell you, if they hit that screen, he's still running up the sidelines. That's a big play for Parrish. So you're seeing this athleticism from Texas A&M, and you've seen flashes of it throughout the first half.
Gonna keep it on the ground here. As Parrish able to spin ahead and get a little help from the big man, and Nez Cooper says, let me take my friend for a ride. The 340-pound right guard with a little extra push, and now they go tempo. Van Dyke. That was batted at the line of scrimmage. I think Walter Nolan was the big man who got in the way.
Yeah, Walter Nolan's working on a stunt. There was actually a hold they didn't call that time. Inez Cooper looked like he grabbed his jersey, but get a 1-with-1 there. So here you are, you're sitting almost at midfield. Tyler Van Dyke's been seeing the field very, very well. You're probably thinking you need to get to around the 35-yard line, feel good about a field goal attempt, which would be pretty amazing if you could go into halftime tied after the slow start Miami's had.
And remember, Miami exhausted all their timeouts.
That's right.
Van Dyke, great job with the protection, and coming back to the ball is Young, and getting loose and cutting back is Colby Young, and they are in business.
And look at this pocket again. Texas A&M up front. They're trying to stunt and twist here and here and here and here. That's just not phasing Miami at all. They've got all time to throw back there, and there you go. 6'5", 215 pounds, man. He's not coming down the first tackle. You better wrap the legs. That is big-time yak, and Miami now laughing in great field position.
32 yards from Colby Young. The single biggest improvement of Miami's this offensive line, and it's showing up today. This is not the team of last year at all, nor is that the case for A&M. These two rosters are retooled and loaded. Van Dyke, 25 seconds to play, strike downfield. Again, Restrepo gets the foot in. Xavier Restrepo, 20 seconds remain for the Canes.
And I was saying earlier, Tyler Van Dyke once or twice a game makes a wild throw that you want to just rewind. Look at the window he puts this in over Damani Richardson. Nothing you can do for a perfect throw. They work the boundary. That couldn't have been any better. You get the first down, you get out of bounds. Here you are inside the 10-yard line now. And you've got a couple cracks now at the end zones. Try to steal a touchdown here in a 2-minute situation.
This is a masterful, well-managed drive by new offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson and the veteran quarterback Tyler Van Dyke. Play clock down to 5. Remember, no timeouts remaining for Miami, and they haven't even broken the huddle yet.
Delay game, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
We just said it a few plays ago, and they had to have the awareness, but after the couple big chunk plays, the clock was running down on them.
Well, that's the 6th penalty, I think, already for Miami in this game. It's been really kind of messy on both sides, but you know, those are sort of situations when you got a new play caller in his first year. This is only, the 6th quarter of football they played. And communication and getting the play call in and getting your substitutions right. You practice these 2-minute situations throughout the week, but you got to be able to go out and execute on game day.
First and goal, now at the 11-yard line. Three-man rush, they drop 8. Van Dyke looking for an option. To the end zone, he goes! Touchdown, Canes! Jacoby George! The Van Dyke family high-fiving Mom Amy. She says Van Dyke, she says Van Dyne, and he just threw another dime. Jacoby George, who earlier today, Jesse, the muff punt that set things up for Texas A&M, comes up huge just before halftime. And Borregales caps it with the extra point. Excellent late half drive by Miami.
Well, Jacoby George has to fight his way open on a scramble drill. He's locked up with Tyreek Chappelle, and there was a lot of hand fighting going on in the end zone. Watch this. He runs down the field. He's looking back, maybe back shoulder, 2 hands. Chappelle falls down. And that's all window that TVD needed right here. Good job with the focus and vision, throwing across his body. A bit of a dangerous throw. but what a perfect 2-minute drive with no timeouts. They got down the field in a hurry, and Tyler Van Dyke's parents, they are loving it. This looks like the Tyler Van Dyke we were seeing back in 2021 when he was named ACC Rookie of the Year.
There's mom on the left, Amy, who's a successful attorney back home in Connecticut. She puts Van Dyke on the back of the shirt. And her son, Tyler, who's been through so much, 3 offensive coordinators in 3 years, the injury last year, dealing with a disrupted offensive line in such a choppy season, and now a new offensive coordinator. His health, his focus, his belief, and 3 touchdown passes in this first half to take a 21-17 lead over a very talented Aggies defense.
After the slow start, man, it's been incredible. You're seeing a lot of mental toughness out of Mario Cristobal's team.
Owens from the 1. And now the kick coverage fired up as well. It's the kind of game that everybody was anticipating today, with 2 programs who feel like they have turned the corner instantly with a lot of changes, be it coordinators or upgraded rosters thanks to the transfer portal and the development of 5 stars that they recruited themselves.
Well, on paper, both of these teams are better than they were a year ago. There's a lot more talent, but you got to go out and prove it. And this is such a great barometer game for both of these programs to find out just how far they've come.
Wigman will take a knee. It was all Aggies early on. Special teams led the way, and then the Canes have roared back. And this place feels the way it's supposed to feel on this orange out at Hard Rock. Only the 2nd time an SEC team has ever played Miami at this stadium. Texas A&M will receive the second half kickoff. 21-17 Miami. Van Dyke was able to connect with George moments ago with that 11-yard touchdown pass. Van Dyke went for 235 yards in that first half. Katie?
Jimbo, Miami's offense was able to settle in. What's allowed them to find a rhythm?
I think we got to affect the quarterback. We got to get to the quarterback. We're playing the run pretty well. They pop 1 at the end of 2 minutes, but we're not affecting the quarterback enough and not getting enough pressure on him. He's getting comfortable when they're making throws down the field.
At the end of the first, you said you liked how you were moving the ball. How can you turn some of the field goal attempts into touchdowns?
We didn't finish some drives right there. We had a chance on the screenplay. We missed the field goal. It could have been a big swing in the game right there. We got to finish a couple drives, keep our running game going, keep it a little more balanced. We'll be all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a fun one in South Florida this afternoon, folks. Just settle in. The State Farm halftime report is still to come after these messages and a word from our ABC station.
Somebody gotta go all night. Somebody gotta dig down.
Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer, Katie George with you to start the second half here at Hard Rock as the short kick is fielded by David Bailey. And Texas A&M will open up this second half, trailing 21-17. Jesse, I marvel at the fact that Miami started the game the way they did. Listen, they had a punt that was blocked. Yeah. They had another one they muffed. It just served up 14 points to Texas A&M. And yet, because of Tyler Van Dyke, they got the lead.
They had 2 3-and-outs to start the game.
That's right.
You put all that together, you should be down by 21 points going in at halftime, and still somehow they're up by 4. You know, we talked about this game being a barometer for both of these programs that believe they're a lot more talented this season. But you learn about your team in games like this, right? You've seen the resiliency of Mario Cristobal's unit. They fought through adversity. They've taken the lead. See if they can keep it going.
Daniels able to get away from that first wave of defenders. Katie.
Well, Tess, Mario Cristobal was certainly pleased that his team's ahead on the scoreboard, but he said the 14 points for Texas A&M is self-indicative, right? They're self-inflicted wounds. And he said, I like the fact that my team continued to play hard even when they weren't executing well. They didn't get discouraged. They remained competitive, and then they finally settled in and executed at the end of the second half. He wants to see more of what we saw in the last few minutes than what we saw at the beginning of this game.
Daniels on 2nd and 3 as he takes it out nearly to midfield. So a good start to the second half for Amari Daniels, the kid from Miami Central High School.
Nice.
Oh, nice, Smith.
A little slow getting up, but all right. So Texas A&M's got to regroup a little bit. They got to get the mojo going back on offense, and they're coming out here right away in the second half, trying to be physical, running the football. They're establishing the line of scrimmage through 2 plays.
So Smith runs off. Bobby Petrino, longtime offensive guru, new play caller for A&M. Wigman. That defensive pressure right in his face.
It's the 4th corner blitz, Joe. We keep saying this over and over and over again. Lance Guidry, the defensive coordinator, sending Jaden Davis off the edge, and Texas A&M has never had an answer. Wigman's trying to throw hot to his running back in the flat, but it's a great athletic play by Davis to swat that down.
He's originally from Broward County, by the way. He's back home now after transferring here to Miami from Oklahoma. 2nd and 10. Here's safety pressure this time. Able to get it to the outside where the diving catch is made by the 6'6" Noah Thomas.
It's only his first catch. That's a guy that needs to touch it more in this football game. They got to take advantage of their weapons to the outside. Miami bringing a lot of pressure, and they're forcing the ball out of the quarterback's hands very quickly. What they've got to do here, Miami, defensively, is they've got to stay in their pass rush lanes. They like to loop and stunt and twist around, but Wigman's already shown you if you give him a lane on 3rd down, he'll take off.
3rd and 6. Wigman, quick strike and a first down to Evan Stewart.
And he's so quick out of his break. He's working the in route against Darryl Porter. He just explodes when he puts his foot in the ground. And honestly, I don't think that's something you can coach. You'll see him at the top of the screen. He gets the inside release. Just makes a quarterback feel so much better knowing, hey, I don't got to be perfect, because if he's going to create that separation, that gives me space to fit it in there.
Wigman on 1st down. Sidearms it this time to Stewart, who's able to turn the corner before he is torn down by James Williams.
Tess, huge blow to Miami's defense. Branson Dean and Akeem Mesidor, 2 defensive linemen for Miami up front. They are out for the remaining portion of this game, both due to a lower extremity injury.
Wow, that's big, Katie. Those are 2 starters, and those are difference makers. Disruptive forces in the front for Miami. So that depth now, it's going to get tested here in the second half.
2 freshmen, big recruit Ruben Owens, the tailback behind Connor Wigman, the outstanding sophomore quarterback for the Aggies. And he will get the work here. Off left tackle and fights for the extra yardage, and a chain mover from Ruben Owens.
Nice job, Mark Naboo at guard. Only a redshirt freshman pulling and sort of creating an edge there for Ruben Owens to get around. You're seeing a lot of variation in the run game here. There's some zone concepts, but they're pulling a lot of these big bodies. We talked about it. This O-line, they're bigger than the average NFL offensive line. They've got some athletic dudes, though. If they can stay healthy this year, already a massive improvement over what we saw from the Aggies last year.
Last year, they were trying to find the 5 on the field because they were dealing with so many injuries and never really had that cohesive gel. Wigman with protection. He gets it to Owens. Owens able to dodge that would-be tackler. And close to that line to gain.
I like the quick decision making by Wigman there. He wanted to push it downfield. It wasn't there. You don't waste time. Right away, you just spit it out to your true freshman in the flat here. You see Wigman's got his eyes downfield. They're sort of working in-breaking routes. This is why this true freshman Owens is going to be special. Not only is he good running the ball between the tackles, he can catch it too. He can be a big weapon in Bobby Petrino's offense.
Well-managed opening drive of the second half to this point. Leonard Taylor, the most talented defensive lineman for the Canes, a projected first rounder, able to make the stop.
And they need him now more than ever, especially with some injuries up front. He only played 15 snaps last week because he missed the spring with a shoulder injury. So he's kind of working his way back into playing shape, right? But they knew coming in, they needed at least 30 snaps from him. And now that Mesidor's out and Dean's out, like Katie said, They're going to need big 56 to stay in this game and make plays.
10th play of this drive. Second and 10. Wigman going to step up, going to tuck and run and surge his way inside the 10, where Kiko Maui-Noa makes the tackle.
So here's another opportunity now. 3rd down in the red zone. The windows are small to throw into, so Noah Thomas at 6'6", big number 3. Matched up, if he's outside with Darryl Porter, that's an 8-inch height advantage for him. And that's something in this area of the field you can take advantage of.
Look at the size of Thomas. 3rd and 5. Will he be the target here for Wigman? Sprint left. Gets it out. Stewart turns upfield, but he was met right away by Jaden Davis. Let's see where they mark it.
Well, there was a bit of a bust on the back end by Miami. They sort of lost Stewart in the flat. Davis was able to come up. The throw was low, and because of that, it sort of slowed down his forward progress, and they were able to make the stop to set up 4th and short.
4th down and less than a yard, and the big bodies are coming into the game. Ernest Crownover, who plays fullback often in the I formation.
Cam
Extra
Newberry
tight ends.
In the game as well. Big
Cam
guard.
Newberry goes 330 pounds for Steve Adazio's offensive line. Amari Daniels will be dotting that I formation with 240-pound Crownover on 4th and less than 1. And we're going to get a timeout called by Jimbo Fisher in the Aggies. And with that, we're going to take a break. What a fun game we've got this afternoon at Hard Rock. A 4th down when we return. Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer, Katie George with you as Texas A&M facing a 4th and less than 1 at the 6-yard line of Miami. Amari Daniels is the tailback in front of Crownover, the fullback, and a loaded jumbo look, Jesse. Nigel E. Kelly, defensive end for Miami, was limping. He just ran off. They're down 3 of their 4 starters on D-line right now. And they're blowing whistles. Let's see if they got the timeout.
Joe,
I think there was a substitution.
Joe, I think Miami had 12 guys on the field.
Off a timeout. The flag is down back of the end zone.
And there is no foul for 12 in formation. Timeout, Miami.
They did get the timeout, Jesse.
Wow. Well, you were saying Nigel E. Kelly ran off late. It created problems. Let's see how good I am at doing this. Yeah, that's 12. And a substitution issue. And if you look out here, that's actually 13 dudes.
I don't think that's allowed. Is that allowed?
Even in Canada, that's not allowed. I mean, that's a penalty in the CFL.
Definitely not allowed, Jesse. And Nigel E. Kelly is actually dealing with a little bit of something. He's banged up, so he was running off the field. Mario Cristobal immediately knew too many bodies, ran down to the left side official, got the timeout just in the nick of time.
So, Jesse, Mesidor, starting defensive end, out injured. Branson Dean, defensive tackle, out injured. And Nigel E. Kelly favoring that leg.
3 starters up front having to deal with one of the bigger offensive lines in all of college football here in a critical 4th and short, trying to scrape and claw and hold on to this lead.
So here we go. We reset it for 4th down. Same formation, same personnel group for the Aggies. Crownover and Daniels in the backfield behind Wigman under center on 4th down. There was movement on the left side of the line. And the Canes are pointing that way, and Jimbo's turning his head.
Ball start, offense, number 60. 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
That's Trey Zune, the left tackle. He's just flinching, and you've got to lock in. That's the kind of penalty that's going to drive a head coach crazy, because it has nothing to do with talent. Here he is right here. It's just focus at the snap. I know you're playing on the road. I mean, Hard Rock Stadium is not the loudest stadium in college football, right? You should be able to kind of hone in. You're just 2 bodies down from the center. With Wigman under center, that's a blown opportunity for Texas A&M.
So Randy Bond gets the call now after the penalty. This will be a 28-yard attempt. And with that, he puts it through, and we have a 1-point game. Today's Aflac trivia question. You up for this, Jess?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so Howard Schnellenberger, great, all-time Hurricanes coach, is celebrating the anniversary of the national championship here. Left the Hurricanes, joined a USFL team that planned for Miami. But when that team was relocated to Orlando, there's a lot of copy here, bro.
Yeah, there is.
There's
I know.
A lot of
You're
copy.
getting through it pretty quick.
So that team relocated to Orlando before playing a single game. He stepped aside. Who replaced him as the head coach of the Orlando Renegades?
Bro, there's a lot of copy, but the fact that I wouldn't have gotten by Schnellenberger.
And this was the cell. Look at Bernie Kosar there. As they're remembering the late Howard Schnellenberger was the great head coach here. Bernie and that team who went to the Orange Bowl as underdogs against #1 Nebraska in that 2-point conversion attempt that was defended. They won the thrower 31-30. 40th anniversary being celebrated here. Rashard Smith on the return for the Canes. Catches a seam. Here goes Smith. Would you look at what we got going on in Hard Rock, folks? How about it? 98 yards. From South Beach to Coral Gables, there's some juice down here today. The elite speed of Rashard Smith. Back and forth they're going. College football just feels different when the U's got a little bit of juice, doesn't it?
It's better.
It just feels different.
And you're seeing all the momentum now on the sides of the Hurricanes. They had the problems on special teams in the first half, but how about your boy, Rashard Smith, making a big run here early. Going back and looking at this return, look at Xavier Restrepo right here. He's a receiver, doesn't pancake a lot of guys, but he finds himself one-on-one with the kicker, Randy Bond. He's like, I've seen this on TV. I can get this done. And that frees up Rashard Smith, who ran a very long way on that return, Katie.
Guys, get this. Rashard Smith came over to the bench, celebrated for probably 2 seconds. They gave him a jersey, number 36, said, put this on, buddy. You got to go back out for kickoff. So he's back on the field.
Isn't that great? There are 2 number 0s into Corey Couch plays kickoff coverage. So the guy goes 98 yards. You got to get a new jersey on. Put on 36 and get right back out there. He goes from returning it 98 yards for a touchdown to now playing coverage on kickoff with a jersey threw right over the top.
He's burning calories today.
And now Ruben Owens. As Owens loses his footing, taken down short of the 20. Well, we had that Aflac trivia question relating to Howard Schnellenberger and the Orlando Renegades, and I believe it was about a paragraph long, but we asked you, so he was going to coach Orlando in the USFL, stepped aside.
Whoa!
Do you know who replaced him as head? Now see, here I am deriding the question, and it's such a good one.
Yeah,
Lee Corso.
Lee Corso, who is my neighbor in Orlando, by the way. I have a home there, and he's in the hood. And the guy's an absolute legend in the Orlando area. He's a legend all throughout college football around the country, of course, but that is awesome.
Coach Corso was great today on College Game Day from Tuscaloosa. Of course, the big one, Texas, Alabama, coming up tonight. Amari Daniels out to the 22-yard line.
This is big for Texas A&M, Joe. They've got to kind of get some of this mojo back, and I think they can do that by running the ball behind this big offensive line. Of course, Miami now banged up. We talked about it. 3 starters on that D-line out of the game, so this is where you expect this big offensive line, these big running backs, that they keep rotating in to start to wear down these body blows. These runs that were 2-3 yards in the first quarter, those have to start becoming 6- and 7-yard gains here.
2 starting defensive linemen out of action for the rest of the game for the Canes. Daniels on 2nd and 6 and tackled for a loss by Corey Flagg.
Corey Flagg's a guy that's had 4 different defensive coordinators and 3 different linebacker coaches during his time here in Miami. Watch 11 just scrape in and make this play. Really nice instincts. He just hits it. He splits the double team, shows you that explosiveness. And now it sets up a big 3rd and long.
Third and 7 to the outside, and that is caught by Muhammad. Moose Muhammad with the reception for a first down by the Aggies.
Man, that is a big-time throw on a big down and distance on 3rd down. That is incredible. In the pocket, he's working to his right. Muhammad on the out route. You see him just kind of like shuffle his feet. There's a little bit more of a sidearm delivery. Just puts it on a really nice route here by Muhammad. We haven't called his name a lot. This guy's got really good body control. Looks like his dad, who I played against back in the day, Musa Muhammad, a 14-year NFL vet. We've talked about the receivers A&M has, and the matchups, and the problems they give you. That's got to demonstrate itself here in the second half if Texas A&M's going to come back.
And by the way, Chase Basantis, the starting right tackle for Steve Adazio's offensive line, and taken off the field here under his own powers. Big, steady, reliable, beast in the weight room kind of guy from Don Bosco Prep in Jersey. We'll take a break as they tend to him. Student sections across the country are competing to be the Taco Bell Live Más Student Section of the Year. You can download the Taco Bell app to learn more. Well, it is all about the U for this crowd. And we said it. Listen, you know the way South Florida gets criticized in terms of the sports fans and the way things are down here. There is a great atmosphere.
No, dude, I'll say this. This is the loudest I've ever heard Hard Rock Stadium. I don't know what the attendance is, but this feels like home field advantage.
There's Wigman for the Aggies. Man goes down and it is picked off. That is Kitchens. And here he goes on the return. Cam Kitchens, who last year had 6 interceptions, just served up Wigman with his first pickoff of his career.
Wow.
Connor Wigman had never thrown a pick in his career.
Anais Smith was working the middle of the field. He was going to be wide open. That's exactly where Wigman should have gone with the throw. He's just trying to break down right in the middle. And there's Kitchens, who had 6 picks years ago. He was an All-American, and he can change the game in one play. You see Anais Smith normally very sure-footed. That is exactly where Wigman needed to go. It was a good decision. And his first interception of his collegiate career, it's really not his fault.
And by the way, the return puts it at the 22-yard line for the Canes. Tyler Van Dyke having to quiet the crowd at Hard Rock. That's a change. Parrish cuts back, and he's going to be tackled for a loss. That was Damani Richardson, the veteran, coming up big for the Aggies defense.
Yeah, we talked about him. You know, the motion of GWES brings him over and brings him closer to the line of scrimmage. That's exactly where the bounce back happened in that run play. This was supposed to go up the middle of the field, but the running back decided to try to bounce it back to the outside, right into the arms of number 26, Richardson. Nice job in the open field making a tackle.
Second and 12. Van Dyke with time, straight to the end zone and through the hands of Jacoby George. What could have been, what should have been, and now a 3rd and long and a chance for the Aggies defense.
It was a bit of a crossing route on the outside, and it forced the safety in the middle of the field to just hesitate a moment. You see the tight end working to the corner. And that allows the receiver to get in behind him. That's George, and that's one you just got to lay out for, don't you, Joe?
What a missed opportunity with the separation, with the throw, and now a 3rd and 12 after the interception and have put them in prime position. Connor Wigman looks on, sees what his defense can offer up here. Van Dyke against a 3-man rush. They drop 8, plenty of time, but he's got to check down to Parrish. Parrish is tackled at the 17-yard line. That was LT Overton, so
wow.
4th down.
That was Parrish dropping his shoulder and giving a little bit of the business to LT Overton, much bigger than him. I think if you're Miami here, you're kicking a field goal, taking advantage, up by 8. You now make this a 2-possession game. You got to capitalize after getting that interception from Kitchens. So
Borregales comes out there for the attempt. Missed long distance. This will be from 34. And one of the best kickers in the country puts it through. 31-20, Canes. Just south of us, magnificent campus of the University of Miami. Swimming pool right in the middle of campus. It has been just a glorious weekend of weather here in South Florida as we are at Hard Rock Stadium. By the way, this is the final year of the traditional format for the Capital One Orange Bowl, and then things go to the CFP semifinal, and then of course they'll host a quarterfinal in 25 and 26, and then 2026 the CFP National Championship with the new college football playoff format will be right here in Miami Gardens, Florida.
Get back to that swimming pool, Joe. How's your butterfly?
Oh, no. I'm not. I'm more of like, you're sitting in the pool and you have a very nice adult beverage.
I'm usually one or two floaties. Yeah, just enjoying.
Now a quick word from Cheez-It.
I'm RG3Z. See you next time. Hey, who changed my name to RG3Z?
Me? It's a great combo. Like college football and Cheez-It. You like?
You cheddar believe it.
And how will college football fans feel? They're going to be feeling the cheesiest!
Woo!
Now the Canes spotted the Aggies the first 10 points of the game, and now Miami has outscored A&M 31-10. The big moment came when Smith returned the kickoff 98 yards after the Aggies had a field goal to cut it to 1, and here we are 31-20 in such a critical game in terms of early season momentum with two programs that feel very good about the changes that they have made. Wigman steps up in pocket in front of pressure and is able to connect to Noah Thomas.
Well, remember, they don't have their starting right tackle in the game right now. Ruben Fatherly has moved into that spot, so that edge is a little bit softer, and Wigman that time had to step up in the pocket and deliver another strike when things were off schedule. It's a nice bounce back throw by a guy that just threw his first collegiate interception, trying to get this offense back in rhythm.
Daniels on first down. Cuts back out to the 45-yard line. Wigman able to get this complete to the talented Evan Stewart. That's another first down for the Aggies.
Well, that's just too easy for Wigman. And if you're going to give a wide receiver like Evan Stewart 10 yards of cushion, Wigman's just going to catch it and throw it out there and take 10 yards all day long. At some point in this game, and maybe it's because they've got 11-point lead. They're just trying to play off a little bit. But, I mean, this will just be up and down the field, pitch and catch. You're going to have to challenge these receivers a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage.
Wigman with time on first down, and he muscles the ball complete to Max Wright, his big 260-pound tight end.
Well, and it's a good job of just pocket presence by Wigman that time. Looking downfield, right? It's hard focus downfield, soft around you, but he feels some open green to his left, so he's just able to slide, but he's not taking off running. Keeps his feet underneath him. He's got a really good base when he makes that throw. It hits right between the 4 and the 2.
Play action, pressure off the edge, gets it out quickly. Again, it's Noah Thomas. Remember Bobby Petrino, the new play caller. That was the big story, the big headline the past year for A&M. Hasn't been an assistant coach since 2002 when he was the OC at Auburn for Tommy Tuberville, and now the play caller for Jimbo Fisher.
Well, he has this thing he calls feed the studs, and he's doing that right now on offense. He's getting number 1 Evan Stewart and number 3 Noah Thomas some touches here to try to bring them back in the second half.
Second and 1. Daniels probing, finding nothing. Stopped for no gain against the interior of that defensive line. Big Ahmad Moten, number 99, the 300-pounder, clogging things up. Remember, they're down 2 defensive linemen. Two tight ends, plus Crownover, the 235-pound fullback, in offset with Owens as the tailback on 3rd and 1. Play action, pressure on Wigman, lofts it, catching it, and bringing it in is Crownover. Oh, they leaked out the big back, and they get the touchdown from it.
I got to be honest, Joe, I'm watching that live. It looked like Layden Robinson jumped Hurley to me at the right guard from Texas A&M. I thought that play wasn't good. It's right here. There's a little bit of movement. I thought right before the snap it didn't get called, and they snuck out the big fella and took advantage with a great throw and catch.
And now, with the score the way it is, Jimbo immediately says we're going for 2. We're going to try to close this to a field goal. Ruben Owens, the running back, Connor Wigman, the quarterback, out there for a 2-point conversion. Coach Fisher is trying to cut this to a 3-point game. Noah Thomas, big 6'6" target. Snap bobbled to the corner of the end zone. Stewart is out of bounds. So Mario Cristobal's group will keep it as a 5-point lead.
We've seen Bobby Petrino. He's done a good job in this game getting running backs involved, coming out of the backfield, and he did it again. See Crownover here, number 24, just working the wheel route, matched up one-on-one with Maui Noah, the linebacker, transfer from Washington State. Just a really nice throw. You know, when you're throwing to running backs, you got to make it easy on them, right? It doesn't have to be a bullet pass. It's not a tight end running up the seam. You got a big fella. You got to just lay that thing in, and it's a nice job of Wigman. What a great answer by him in this offense, right? You throw your first collegiate interception, all the momentum's back on Miami's side, and he just methodically leads his offense down the field, throwing a touchdown pass. You're really, I think, finding out a lot about Wigman's leadership and his maturity.
Finding out a lot about both teams.
You're right.
And that was our opening conversation to this broadcast.
Yeah.
These are not the teams of last year at all, and we're going to find something out about them.
Yeah.
I don't care how this ends up. You know these teams are different right now.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. And I think you and I talked a lot about that this week. When you look on paper, it's obvious both Miami and Texas A&M are more talented rosters than they were a year ago, but you're seeing a lot of mental toughness, fighting through adversity, resiliency from both of these squads as it goes back and forth.
And look who's back deep. Brashard Smith, who took it 98 yards last time. But this time, he's not going to get a chance. Let's go to Kevin and the guys in the studio. What do you got, my man?
Tess, we got a final in Flushing. Coco Gauff becomes the first American teenager to win the U.S. Open women's title since Serena Williams, and the celebration after beating Sabalenka in 3 sets, finding her family, and then the big hug. The emotion there, you see it as she gets her first Grand Slam title, and we're getting ready for a Grand Slam matchup in Tuscaloosa. Jalen Milroe in Alabama up against Texas.
He'll be challenged tonight to make some tight window throws. Want to see if he's able to do it.
That game on ESPN, top of the hour. Tess, Jesse, and Katie, back to you guys.
And congratulations to Coco. And you mentioned the family from just up the road in Delray Beach. Her mom, Candy, her father, Corey. That is a huge win for Coco. And look at this, A.J. Allen with a big run for the Canes.
Yeah, everybody up front for Miami, they're getting a hat on the hat. They're just covering guys. And Allen, the transfer from Nebraska, he's able to just sort of find the crease. It's nice patience, right? Watch him get the handoff. He's just kind of letting it happen. It could go right, it could go left, it could go up the middle. He puts his foot in the ground, gets north. This guy's only a redshirt freshman. His backfield from Miami, man, they've got a lot of talent.
Van Dyke, quick to the outside, unable to connect with Restrepo.
Yeah, that's one of the few incompletions we've seen Tyler Van Dyke throw in this game. He's been real accurate. He's been accurate throwing it short, looked real good, pressing it down the field. And even when he's missed, it hasn't been by a lot. But you know, I think the good news if you're a Hurricanes fan, certainly for Mario Cristobal, is you're seeing your quarterback. He's taking steps forward. He's regaining the confidence that he lost last year. Just seems to be in a really nice rhythm with his new offensive coordinator, Shannon Dawson.
243 yards and 3 touchdown passes for Van Dyke. On 2nd and 10 with time. Batted at the line of scrimmage. That was chopped down right at the line of scrimmage by Isaiah Rakes, the big guy from Woodbury, New Jersey.
It's awesome awareness, too, because he's getting double-teamed at the line of scrimmage. He knows he's not going to get there, but he has his eye on the QB. You just got to time it, right? You see the release, you see the windup start happening, just get one of those big paws up there, and that prevented a completion. Tyler Van Dyke had a guy wide open. He probably would have got that first down.
So he's wearing a glove on that left hand. They got the right hand up there, did break. So 3rd down and 10. They bring pressure. Van Dyke in the face of pressure, incomplete. He was looking for Harrell, who was covered by Chappelle.
Oh, Tyreek Chappelle was right in his hip pocket. That was really good coverage. He's a guy that really sort of excels in man coverage as you see TVD coming off the field. But here he is right there in the slot, lined up one-on-one, and there's a little bit of hand fighting. I like that no call, though. It's a great job just staying with them and making a big play now. Could the momentum maybe start to shift once again after Texas A&M just scored a touchdown? What happens here?
First punt since 10:29 in the first quarter. Dylan Joyce out there for the Canes. The always dangerous Anaya Smith back for the Aggies as a knuckler is sent downfield to the 16-yard line. And Smith is covered up at about the 19-yard line. Hey, Jesse, it is on tonight.
Oh, yeah.
We got Sark and the Horns in Tuscaloosa. Number 11, Texas, against Saban and the Tide. Number 3, Alabama. Coverage will begin at 7 Eastern on ESPN. By the way, McAfee's got a simultaneous broadcast on E2 for that game. College football rankings brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, and I think that Alabama-Texas game obviously is the one everybody is circling, and a lot of questions, I think, with Jalen Milroe, quarterback for Bama. Looked so good in week 1, but this is a game that you know he's going to have to make throws from the pocket if Bama's going to win. I can't wait to see.
Texas A&M defense did their job. Now Wigman in the offense back out there. Gonna take a shot as Wigman. And that is incomplete as a flag comes in as Cam Kitchens, who had the interception moments ago, went up trying to high point that ball.
Noah Thomas slow getting off the ground.
He was
trying to take a
target.
shot. Yeah, big 6'6" guy on the post, trying to give him a 50-50 ball. Looked like it was underthrown a bit.
Pass interference, defense number 7. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
So the UCF transfer, Devontae Brown, he was in coverage, and he was in good position, but he put his hands on his shoulder. You'll see it right here at the very end. See him just a little bit of a grab and pulls him down to the ground. Kitchens, that's a great job in range, able to get there.
But the weight of Cam Kitchens at the end of this play coming down on the lower leg of Noah Thomas, who is that wiry basketball kind of frame at 6'6", 200.
Well, we kept saying throughout the course of this one, they just really hadn't taken a ton of shots deep down the field to a guy that had a lot of height advantage, and we were waiting for that opportunity when it was going to happen. Wigman thought he had one there, and you're holding your breath a little bit right now if you're a Texas A&M fan, certainly if you're Jimbo Fisher, because this number 3, he is a weapon. They don't have many guys like him. They've got some size. Ja'Day Walker's a guy that's 6'4", who's already blocked a punt earlier in this game and can be a force with his size advantage. But, man, Thomas is a weapon.
And it is Ja'Day Walker who comes into the game at 6'4", 210 pounds. So Thomas steps off the field at the end of that. As for the penalty, that's the 7th in Miami for 75 yards. So a first down for A&M out at the 34-yard line. Daniels gets a good block from right as tight end as he gains yardage off of left tackle. James Williams and Corey Flagg converging on the tackle. Second and 6. Tipped at the line of scrimmage, and somehow Jake Johnson was able to track it, Jesse.
Wow, that was incredible focus on the tip drill. He was trying to go outside the Ja'Day Walker working a curl route, but there he is, Jake Johnson. And how about the athleticism on this? This is incredible. Going to the ground, just getting his hands underneath it. That's a catch. And because of it now, you've got a very manageable third down here, third and short.
And with that, they bring in Crownover, the fullback, in front of Daniels in the I formation. Remember, Crownover had the 19-yard touchdown reception moments ago. 3rd and 1. Daniels. Ball is out! The ball is out! It's still loose! And Miami believes they had it. Jaden Davis with the forced fumble, and the Canes come up huge!
Great speed by Jaden Davis. The running back tried to bounce it to the outside, and this is a picture-perfect tackle, Joe. Helmet on the ball. ESPN College Football returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Cam Kitchens recovered it, and Mario Cristobal had this to say to Katie George.
Coach Cristobal, you're down 2 defensive linemen, and this group continues to make plays for you. What'd you think of that momentum swing?
Well, I mean, next time's got to step up. That's the bottom line. I mean, we're trained for this. We're built for this. We just got to go. It's 4th quarter. Let's just go.
Sounds good, thanks. Guys, I'll tell you this. I've learned Mario Cristobal is not somebody who wants to be taken away from a moment. He is as intense as it gets. He is dialed in.
Start of the 4th quarter from the 31-yard line after the turnover. A.J. Allen tackled for a loss. Edgerrin Cooper for the Aggies.
You know, and one of the things about this D-line being so active and eating up bodies, it allows linebackers to run free. Edgerrin Cooper is very athletic at 6'3", 230 pounds. Now, this is a sudden change situation that you just feel, Joe, this defense has to step up here. They have to try and force a field goal attempt or get a takeaway and get this momentum thing back, man, because that stuff is real, and right now, it just seems like everything on Miami's side.
Obviously, a field goal, they hold them to it, just keeps it at a one-possession game. Allen again, and Allen is upended at the 28-yard line.
Big third down here for the Miami Hurricanes. Xavier Restrepo, we've seen him make some plays in the middle of the field, and we talked about against this defense with their athleticism. He's a guy that finds those soft spots. He's a guy that Tyler Van Dyke can lean on. Remember, he didn't really have him for much of last year because of the foot injury. That's a big reason why Tyler Van Dyke struggled at times.
Restrepo is in the slot at the top of your screen, number 2 receiver to the left of Van Dyke. 3rd down and 6. Gets it quickly out there, and going ahead is Restrepo, and getting even more, and it's 1st and goal, Canes.
Well, they work the option route with Restrepo, and he's just so good at reading the body position of defenders and their leverage, and then using his quickness to separate. I'm telling you, if number 7 stays healthy, number 9 is going to play a lot better this year. His offensive line looks improved from last season, getting 7 back on the field. You've got Colby Young, number 4, now stepping up, making plays. It's a totally different looking Hurricanes attack.
1st and goal. Van Dyke looks right, fade. Restrepo couldn't get underneath it, just too far to the outside.
But it's an example of Tyler Van Dyke taking ownership at the line of scrimmage, right? They had another play call. He looked out wide, he saw press, bump coverage, and he gave a little hand signal right there to his receiver out wide. Hey, we're going to try to throw this wheel to Restrepo with smash route and see if we can hit it. But Shannon Dawson giving his quarterback the freedom and flexibility at the line of scrimmage to change things based on what he sees.
2nd and goal. Don Chaney in as the tailback. They get it to George, and George strides in. Jacoby George. And there's something different in the air here in South Florida with this group of Hurricanes.
And this is a play you see Steve Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin use a lot. They kind of bring a receiver here in motion. DB follows him, and all of a sudden they swing him back outside, and they get the tight end out in front blocking. It's just a little eye candy, a little misdirection, a little play fake, and just a lot of space. I don't know how many touchdowns Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle scored during their time at Alabama. But man, nice play call at a big, big moment of the game.
Borregales with the extra point. The end of the third quarter with that fumble recovery set things up for the offense. Restrepo came up big, and then George finished it off. They only had to march 31 yards, and now all of a sudden it is 38-26 Canes. Another spectacular day here in South Florida where aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear, celebrating the challenge of road games everywhere. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer, Katie George with you at Hard Rock Stadium, where Tyler Van Dyke, in 4 touchdown passes, has the home team up on the Aggies 38-26. Look at this note. You got to go back to Ken Dorsey, Jesse, for the other Miami quarterback.
Last 25 seasons. You know, I came up with a crazy number this week. Miami has only had 1 quarterback drafted since 2004. That was Brad Kaya in the 6th round of 2017. Wow. When this position is playing at a high level, I mean, this is Miami U for years. Tyler Van Dyke looking good.
Kevin, what's up?
It's time now for our All-State Good Hands Player of the Day here on 4th down at Tulane. Ole Miss going for it. It's Jackson Dart to Michael Trigg.
Yeah, how about Dart eluding the defender, and then the DB loses the man-and-man coverage. Easy touchdown there.
Ole Miss now trying to blow this game open, up 36-20 over on ESPN. 2 over on ESPN. We're getting ready here. Just 2 minutes away. Jermaine Burt, number 3 Alabama, hosting number 11 Texas.
They're going to need some big plays from their receivers. Miro down the field. Can he hit one over the top?
First time these teams meeting in Tuscaloosa since 1902. Tess, back to you.
Can't wait for it. Amari Daniels tripped up near the line of scrimmage. 12.5 minutes remaining.
I'm just going to say, Joe, don't you kind of feel the sense of urgency
you do.
a little bit right now? If you're
very much.
A&M, like you feel like field goals aren't going to get it done. Like we got to score touchdowns every time we touch it, because right now our defense cannot stop them.
What a difference with this Miami team. The offensive line, all the talent that was brought in. I mean, this guy, Jimbo Fisher, same thing with all the revamped offensive line, healthy and talent on both sides. And now they've been battling back and forth, but Miami getting the best of it here in this second half. 2nd and 10. Wigman. Shallow cross and great pursuit to take down Evan Stewart. James Williams and Darrell Porter Jr. getting on him.
Such a good job playing zone coverage. Just everything's in front of you. You're watching the quarterback size. The 6'5" safety Williams, though, man, he came downhill quickly. It's like a linebacker playing in the deep third, middle of the field. He'll make guys think twice about wanting to run over the middle of the field like that.
He is the emotional leader of the defense, and right now a lot of emotion with this crowd. Listen to it on 3rd and 8. Wigman. Incomplete, off the hands of Stewart.
And that's a play Stewart has to make, and he's certainly capable and good enough to do that. That's a corner route into zone coverage. That's the right read by Wigman. It's not a perfect throw, but when you're as athletic and as talented as Stewart is, you climb the ladder and you bring this one down. Again, there's number big 20, though. We just talked about that. You got a 6'5" safety hauling around. He just got tackled by him a play ago. Stuff like that sticks with you, and you start hearing the footsteps a little bit, Joe.
Constantino on to punt away. Restrepo, the return man for the Canes, and he calls for the fair catch at the 22-yard line. Just over 11 minutes to play. Miami looking for a signature win here at home.
Back in January, Tyler Van Dyke said he was nervous not knowing who his 3rd offensive coordinator was going to be. But to Mario Cristobal's credit, he involved Van Dyke in the hiring process. They talked about candidates. He even asked Van Dyke to meet with some of those candidates because he knew that whoever he hired was going to impact his quarterback most. Right now, guys, they seem to have a really natural fit, and we've seen a great performance from Tyler Van Dyke, much like we saw at the end of the 2021 season.
Eddie says he loves that freedom that he's allowed. Just getting the ball to playmakers, and that's what he has done, especially in this second half. A little help from the special teams. Right now a 12-point lead, and there's his mom, Amy, and his family sitting there. Magnificent story we told you earlier. She took the bar exam and passed it while her water broke, and then gave birth to Tyler later that day. Don Chaney with the carry. She's an attorney back in Connecticut.
You know, it's amazing, Joe. There were rumors that Tyler Van Dyke was going to transfer after struggling last year, maybe to Bama. But it was so smart for him, I think, to stay. Once he found out Shannon Dawson was coming in to call plays. Shannon Dawson's offense, to me, schematically, mimics a lot of what Rhett Lashley did back in 2021. When Tyler Van Dyke had a lot of success. A lot of 4 wide receiver sets, spread looks, RPO game, pushing the ball down the field, highlighting the things Tyler Van Dyke does well. And you can just see from a confidence standpoint, throwing the football with conviction in this game, it was the best decision to stay and play for Dawson.
2nd and 8.
Wow.
Downfield, gets it complete, and he goes to Cam McCormick, the big tight end. Old man Cam, who's 25 years old in between injuries and medical redshirt.
And
he's been playing 8 years.
Another great pocket, Joe, for the quarterback here. Look at guys up front. They're trying to spin and get up. Look at the time Van Dyke has. He's starting to his left. He works back to the middle of the field, finds the 8th-year senior, Cam McCormick. This offensive line, you cannot say enough about how they've played here in this game against a very talented Texas A&M D-line.
Filled with 5-star recruits who have matured and blossomed. Allen, as he spins ahead for a gain of about 3.5. Cooper with the tackle.
Think about this O-line, right? I mean, there's one guy that was starting last year for Miami. He changed positions. Jalen Rivers was a left guard. He moves out to left tackle because Jason Campbell transferred to Tennessee. So you bring in Javion Cohen from Alabama, 2nd-team All-SEC. You bring in Matt Lee from UCF, a 3-year starter, 1st-team All-American Conference. I mean, there's just better players and better talent up front. They've got a right tackle, Maui Noah, who's going to be a gifted player. And this is the biggest difference I think we've seen in this offense, giving Tyler Van Dyke time and opportunities to take advantage of their weapons downfield.
2nd and 7. Coming up on 9 minutes to play. Play action. Van Dyke with time. Going to take a shot downfield. Back shoulder incomplete. And a flag comes in as Josh DeBerry had coverage on Colby Young.
Nothing you can do. I mean, Josh DeBerry gets completely turned around. He didn't get his head turned back. And a guy that had a really good game last week.
Defense, number 28, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, includes an automatic first down.
DeBerry is struggling out on that island right now. How about this, by the way? You're Miami, and you've got this kind of lead in the 4th quarter. Most people will be running the football, just trying to bleed the clock. Here's Miami and Shannon Dawson taking shots, staying aggressive.
6 Texas A&M penalty for 50 yards. Colby Young, big weapon at 6'5". And he'll get some continued work. You know, you brought up the offensive line. Matt Lee, number 55, the center, who one of the highest graded centers last year in college football. He was so important that Tyler Van Dyke actually, when Lee was on his recruiting trip, flew down from Connecticut when he was back home. So I need to be there for this guy's recruiting weekend. They brought him to media days before he even played a snap for Miami. And he's a leader already.
I've loved watching him on film, too. He kind of gives this offense what Jason Kelsey gives the Eagles. When you've got an athletic center that can pull and get into the second level, just opens up the playbook in the run game so much. They didn't have that a year ago.
There he is, big Matt Lee in the middle of this revamped offensive line. 2nd and 8. Parrish able to make the most out of that before he is taken down, and a flag comes down at the end of the play as Edrin Cooper is still down, slow to get up, and he makes his way up, but clearly affected.
Holding offense, number 61. 10-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
That's Maui Noah, the true freshman again. That's his 3rd holding penalty in this game. He's had his hands full. We've talked about the talent this guy's going to have. just had some struggles, but no doubt. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's 6'6", 340, front squats 500 pounds.
Come again?
500 pounds. He runs 10 yards in 1.71 seconds.
At 330 pounds.
That would have been the second fastest time for a lineman at this year's NFL Combine.
And he's a true freshman.
But they're not supposed to look like that. That guy was playing at IMG Academy last year.
Come on.
Like, what do you do if you're like the dude, like you're like a 230-pound DN, you think you're big?
But what did Mario say to us the other day in the meeting? He said he's got the best muscle density rating of any player in Miami history, which is the complete opposite of what we are after our dinner at Carbone's the other night.
A lot of spicy rig.
Oh, that was the ribeye Diane.
I'm not mad about it, but I still have meat sweats.
2nd and 18. Quickly, Restrepo trying to turn the corner. And he's able to do so, as then he's forced out of bounds by Chappelle.
Yeah, you just kind of, at this point, you kind of want to have awareness, though, right? Like, Restrepo's a guy who's been around a while. You know, you got the 12-point lead. Stay in bounds. Keep the clock bleeding. And Miami would love to run the ball. And all these short throws, those are essentially extensions of the running game. And you're just trying to wear this clock down as much as you can. If you're Tyler Van Dyke right now, you're taking this play clock all the way down before you're snapping. And I think if you're Shannon Dawson, in this situation right here, you're keeping things pretty conservative.
Van Dyke to pass. And gets the time, and coming back for it was Young. Short of the line to make, but he does get them to the 33-yard line.
Gives him an opportunity for a field goal here. I got to say this about Colby Young, by the way. I know he's pretty green. He's still learning how to play the position. All game long, he has done an awesome job coming back to the quarterback. Young receivers out there that are watching this game, watch number 4. When he gets to the top of his routes, he fights his way back to the QB, helping him out, helping make these completions. He's really grown up in front of our eyes in this game.
50-yard attempt from Borregales. Has a career long of 55, missed from 54 earlier today. And he absolutely drills that one. A 50-yarder from Andres Borregales, the third-year starting kicker for the Canes. 41-26, 6.5 minutes to play.
Kevin Aggies back in studio, out the tunnel in Tuscaloosa. There is Nick Saban in a brisk walk as Alabama, number 3 in the country, getting ready for number 11 Texas. This game 45 seconds away from kickoff over on ESPN. And also Luke Fickell and Wisconsin, the Badgers, number 19 in the country, on the road at Washington State. You get that game prime time on ABC, 35 minutes away. Back to Tess and Jesse and Katie.
Fun night of football still ahead. I love the staff that Fickell put together up at Wisconsin.
Phil Longo, I think. How weird is it, though, to watch Wisconsin not in an I formation, running power every single play?
Let's look at Jack Harding as we honor those who served. Brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. Served 2 years as a commissioned officer in the U.S. Navy during World War II. 11 years as the Miami head football coach, was the athletic director, and is in the Hall of Fame here. So Miami history, we honor those who serve. Time of the essence for the Aggies offense. Still a 2-possession game, but this crowd is ready to roar.
Mark Nabu, the left guard, who just kind of got out of the stance.
False start, offense, number 54. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
All right, so Joe, sense of urgency time, right?
Yes.
You got to score a touchdown. You got to get it back. You got to score another touchdown. It has to happen fast. You got to pick up the tempo. This is like a 2-minute feel. The good news, though, they've got their big 6'6" receiver Noah Thomas back in the game down here.
Remember, they tried to hit him on a long ball and had a DB land on his lower leg, but he's back in there. Whitman after the penalty. He's going to take a shot right away. And that ball is caught by Evan Stewart. So just what they needed to start this drive as Evan Stewart comes up big for the Aggies.
It was Johnson, the tight end, running an out route who took the safety's attention away, and then Evan Stewart goes up over top on the post. The ball a bit underthrown, but there's Stewart, right, who dropped the ball a little while ago on the sidelines, jumping up for one, makes amendments right there.
44 yards to start this drive. Under 6 minutes to play. Trailing by 15. Wigman A strike again, and another completion to Stewart, and another first down.
Yeah, Miami is in a kind of a big zone defense right now, trying to keep the football out in front of them. So these A&M receivers are just finding the soft spots and sitting down, making these completions a little bit easier.
Now remember the new rule in college football this year. First down outside of 2 minutes at the end of the half. Clock keeps running. So we're down to 5.5 minutes to play. Bobby Petrino looking on, calling the plays for Jimbo Fisher's team. Wigman with time again. Another strike, and that brings in the penalty flag as Devontae Brown was there with coverage on Noah Thomas.
Yeah, so they're trying to work the double post to Thomas, and again, that size just too much of an issue for these DBs in Miami.
Pass interference, defense number 7. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, includes an automatic first down.
There he is, 6'6" on the outside. He's got an 8-inch height advantage. And you see Brent, the DB, he's trying to keep inside leverage, but when the big fella crosses him, that's all he can do. I mean, that's going to be 6 if he doesn't hold on to him and drag him to the floor.
Look at how quickly the Aggies have come right down the field.
It was the big post throw to Stewart that got this thing going. This is an area of the field, Joe. It's tough. In the red area, these windows, they open and they close quickly.
It's first and goal at the 9-yard line. Opportunity for Wigman to deliver on exactly what they need. Trailing by 15. They bring pressure. A-gap. He gets out of the way. To the end zone he goes. And Owens can't hold on. It'll be second and goal. 5:17 to play.
It was Jafari Harvey that time, a defensive end, dropping back in a zone blitz, and he had to cover the running back all by himself. That athleticism was ridiculous. At 6'4", 252 pounds, Lance Guidry, he's got some freaks playing defensive end that can do a lot of different things. You can't just rush the passer here at Miami. You've got to be able to play zone coverage. You couldn't have done that any better.
Second and goal. Wigman to the end zone, incomplete. It was Stewart at about the 1-yard line who was the closest Aggie to that football.
There are a lot of defenses that'll play big zone coverages here in the red zone. Lance Guidry's not doing that. You know, he came from Marshall, or sneakily last year, quietly, and one of the best defenses in all of college football. He is aggressive. He plays man coverage, and he blitzes. And on the last 2 plays, he's been bringing pressure to Connor Wigman, trying to force him off schedule.
That Marshall defense was number 1 in the country on third down stops last year. Let's see if Guidry can coach up a big third down stop here. Or do the Aggies have a little magic left? Third and goal. Wigman, pressure in his face. To the end zone he goes. Incomplete. Looking for 6'6" Thomas.
Yeah, Texas A&M's got 6 guys blocking. Miami's just kind of overloading it, and they're bringing 7. They're just adding 1 extra player to the equation, and this is all Wigman can do. So it's 4th and goal. If you're Bobby Petrino, right, we talk about him being excellent at getting his best players matched up in advantageous situations. Noah Thomas, 6'6" in the slot. Got the tight end all the way outside to the left.
4th and goal. Gotta have it. Wigman to the end zone. Touchdown, Aggies! Noah Thomas, the big target, delivers.
Unbelievable bravery on the throw.
Flag is down at the 19-yard line, Jesse. Flag is down back at the 19.
Well, Joe, I'm not sure that this wasn't targeting, honestly, after the throw. I mean, because Wigman got absolutely lit up by Wesley Bissaint. You want to talk about sitting there in the fire.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 31. That 15-yard penalty.
So they just called roughing the passer.
Watch 31 Bissaint come in. Running back just kind of check releases, and that was a shot. I mean, when I saw that live, that looked like I wasn't sure that wasn't forcible contact to the head or neck area of a defenseless player. He even ducks the head a little bit, lowers the crown. I'm surprised that wasn't targeted. I'll say this, man, I'm impressed with Wigman. Watching him on film, Joe, he's so good at throwing under duress. Like when people are in his lap, that somehow doesn't affect him. And I don't know, man. I think as a quarterback, that's something you just can't coach in someone. You either have it or you don't. He definitely has it.
Remember, they need a 7 and an 8. So here's the extra point to cap the 7.
You know, Jesse, Bobby Petrino told me the courageous part about being a quarterback is to stand in, complete a pass, take a shot in the chin, and be laying on the ground when your teammate comes down in the end zone with it. He said that's the occupational hazard you have being a QB. But you know what Connor Wigman said? He credits Bobby Petrino really teaching him how to stand in there under pressure and still deliver a great ball.
Yeah, Katie, it's a great point. I'll tell you, when you make a throw like that, I mean, the rest of the team sees that. And you earn a lot of respect, not just from your offensive line, but from the defense as well. You kind of see this again. You watch this from the blimp, from the sky cam. I mean, that hurts from up here.
So you want to be a quarterback, do you?
That gives me PTSD, honestly. But how about this? I mean, we've seen him respond after throwing his first pick, led the offense back down the field to score a touchdown, and here, trailing late, an awesome 2-minute type situation, just leads them right down the field, takes a massive shot to put them within one possession.
How about this day and night of college football right now? With this thriller happening in South Florida right in to Texas at Bama?
We're going to have time. We need to find a spot.
Well, I mean, we both live down here, so I think the spot's going to be the couch.
One or two?
Yeah.
I could find a Negroni somewhere. I know we could just.
Oh, don't worry about that. They got tracking devices for those. 41-33.
I'll tell you, Joe, all of a sudden, you know, if you're on Miami, you're feeling the pressure now too, right?
Yes.
You can't just go 3 and out and give it right back to Connor Wigman. You've got to stay on the field and bleed this clock. And it has not been easy running the ball all game long for the Hurricanes.
And they're going to dribble or squib kick this as they play stay away from Brashard Smith, who had a 98-yard touchdown return. Kevin.
Tess, you talked about a great night here on the ABC ESPN family of networks, AT&T 5G, keeping fans connected as we take a look at our multi-view, which is showcasing a bunch of great games and events across our networks. Over on ESPN, Alabama about to get the ball. It is scoreless early on against Texas. The field pass with the Pat McAfee show right now in a commercial break. That is on ESPN2. Duke in control, up by 14 against Lafayette. And how about North Carolina, favored by 19 points? It's tied up at 17 apiece against their rival Appalachian State over on the ACC network. Tess, back to you.
Thank you, Kevin. Of course, UNC beat South Carolina last week. Florida State beat LSU. So this would be a real gem, the ACC against the SEC, as Parrish with a good start to this drive. He goes for 12 yards.
That's a big-time run for Miami because that time Texas A&M had 7 guys in the box. I mean, they're expecting run. You got all these dudes. And still Miami's like, no problem. We're just going to go run this in. We're going to pull center. We talked about Matt Lee and his athleticism, and it's Parrish able to use his speed to bounce it outside. That's impressive. Running the ball when the defense knows you're going to run it and they still can't stop you, like that's the mark of a good offensive line.
Now you start looking at that clock. You start thinking about the scenario. 4:20 to play. Haynes with an 8-point lead. Talented Aggies defense looking for the stop. And they get a tackle for loss there from Fadil Diggs.
Now, you were talking about Alabama and Texas tonight. Alabama remembers Fadil Diggs, right? He forced 2 fumbles in that game last year. Another one of these raw athletes coming off the edge. And, you know, this is a blocking scheme for Miami where they like to pull a lot of guys, but when you're playing against quick twitch athletes like Texas A&M, you risk a lot of penetration at the point of attack, and that's what you saw right there.
And Dyke looking at that play clock, letting it bleed down, trying to hold on to that 8-point lead. The pass on second down, they go to the quick out to his favorite target, Restrepo.
You know, at this point here, if I'm Shannon Dawson, I think I'm dialing up Restrepo at another one of those option routes. We saw it come up big here a few drives ago on 3rd down. Just who's your best route runner in the middle of the field in space that can get it done? Who do you have confidence in?
Been targeted 9 times, 6 catches, 126 yards.
He has shown up. Had a key block on that kickoff return touchdown. Restrepo's shown up in more ways.
No, here's a big one. 3rd down and 8. 3 minutes to play. Can the Aggies defense get the ball back to their offense? Desperate times for Texas A&M. Van Dyke lofts it downfield, and it is caught by George, and he's still going. Jacoby George, right on in.
And Joe, Josh DeBerry, a cornerback, the Boston College transfer, he wasn't ready at the snap. He was out there covering George one-on-one. Look at him looking back to the inside here. He's trying to get the call. The snap happens. He turns around and just didn't quite get his feet set. There's a little hand fighting. But George able to create the separation, a very poor tackle. And George does the rest. What a monster game for number 3 here in the second half for George.
Tyler Van Dyke has 5 touchdowns. That is a career high for TVD. The guy who struggled last year with a new quarterback coach and play caller, with an offensive line that was given way, with an injury he had to deal with. And now, this day, right here in front of these fans, as Jacoby George took it right on in. And the Canes have themselves a 15-point lead with that new play caller, Shannon Dawson. Miami was 5-7 a year ago. They got blown out by Florida State and Clemson. But Mario Cristobal said, you want to be great, sometimes you have to have a year like that, a year like last year. You got to rip the Band-Aid off. Not going to be fun, not enjoyable, but necessary. Now look at them.
Well, I mean, next guy's got to step up. That's the bottom line. I mean, we're trained for this. We're built for this. We just got to go. It's fourth quarter. Let's just go.
That's what Coach Cristobal said to Katie before the fourth quarter. They went. Let's go. They went. Shannon Dawson's offense as Tyler Van Dyke stepped up. George had 2 touchdowns in his fourth quarter alone. Remember, it was 31-26. 48-33 right now. 2.5 minutes to play. Connor Wigman and the Aggies. And this whole check down to Daniels. Amari Daniels gets just a few yards there.
That's what Miami's going to do. They're just going to play big zone coverage. They're going to try to make tackles in the field and force Texas A&M to use all this clock.
Wigman, big hit that time on Evan Stewart. That was James Williams. Huge, rangy safety, and the flag comes out. He's 6'5", over 215 pounds, playing defensive back.
I was saying it before, Joe. The guy that big, man, there's not a lot of receivers that want to run over the middle of the field, and they're going to take a look at this.
Personal foul, targeting, defense number 20. The previous plays under video review.
Well, Stewart was running the in route. And it was James Williams that was coming down strong, and you see, yeah, it looked like the helmet kind of going right in. That forcible contact to the head or neck area of a defenseless opponent, which Evan Stewart is in that situation. Doesn't have an opportunity to protect himself.
Let's bring in our rules expert, Matt Austin. What's your read, Matt?
Yeah, Joe, Jesse stated it perfectly. He is defenseless. There is an attack, the lowering of the head. There is forcible contact to the head neck area. This is going to be confirmed.
This is our first review of the game. And it comes with just over 2 minutes to go.
Oh.
There's Evan Stewart, who took that big shot. And Stewart himself has 9 catches for over 100 yards. He is so wildly talented.
He is, yeah, and he's I think, identifying himself as the go-to guy in this offense.
And with this moment, let's go to the studio and check in with Kevin.
Tess, let's go to Tuscaloosa. The first mistake made by Jalen Milroe as Jahdae Barron right there with the pick.
Barron just hanging out there looking at Jalen Milroe. The out route comes in zone, steps right in front of it.
And if you're Texas, you got to play a lot of zone against this man. Don't play man-to-man. Don't make it easy for him.
Texas in the red zone right now. That game on ESPN. Our game coming up on ABC later on. Braylon Allen. How about the opener? 141 yards, 2 touchdowns for Luke Fickell in Wisconsin on the road at Washington State, 15 minutes away. Back to you.
Thank you, Kevin. Jesse, I turned to you earlier and asked you about Texas versus Alabama, and you said, listen, I want to see what Jalen Milroe looks like when he's got to get it done with the arm.
That's the thing. He's an unbelievable athlete. And he's a guy that can run, and he can turn the game on its head with his freakish ability, but it's games like this against Texas where you're going to have to be in the pocket delivering strikes. And Jalen Milroe right now struggling in that game, 1 for 4 with the pick.
This is what we're looking at as they are reviewing the targeting call. James Williams, the big safety for Miami, coming in against Evan Stewart.
Oh, man, it's been Evan Stewart who's gotten lit up a couple times here these last couple drives by big number 20. He's a force back there and a guy that Miami doesn't want to be without right now with the lead in the fourth quarter because of that presence.
After video review, there is no foul for targeting. It's third down. Number 20 can remain in the game.
So the call's reversed.
Good news for Miami's defense.
I think Matt Austin, our rules expert, was surprised by that, thinking there was the forcible contact.
Well, the big thing about that, too, is that would have been another first down for Texas A&M closer to midfield, and now they're sitting at third and long. Miami's pass rush pinning their ears back.
So 3rd and 8 for Wigman. And that is denied. Pass defended by Corey Couch as Wigman was trying to find Smith.
All right, so Lance Guidry, we've seen in some critical situations here late in the game, dial up pressure. This wouldn't surprise me here if he decided to try to light up Wigman. We saw him have success with it in the red zone on their last drive. They're just trying to get it out of his hands quicker than he's willing to throw it, and he wants to. They've been able to use corner blitzes. They've brought linebackers. They've brought a lot of different looks and changed the picture pre-snap, post-snap. They're in a blitz look right now.
4th and 8. And Wigman able to complete it to Ainias Smith.
Wow, that is a huge throw down the seam in between two defenders. That had to come out way before Ainias Smith had even turned around.
That's Cam Kitchens, the All-American safety, who's down on the turf.
So look at that shot again. You see how he gets this out of his hands right when Ainias Smith had cleared that first defender, and then Kitchings kind of going in. You see him kind of not moving a lot. He had a lot of teammates issuing over to the sidelines to come out and get help.
I hate to see that.
Oh,
Cam has played such a central role to this team today. Had the fumble recovery at the end of the third quarter, really the big momentum play, had the interception as well. And I'll tell you the other thing about Cam is you see his teammates and the staff with such great concern with Cam Kitchens at the end of that play. If you talk to people around the Miami program, they will tell you the first thing they'll say about Cam is not just he's an outstanding player, that he is one of the very best representatives of the program.
Yeah, he's a leader, and he's a guy that a lot of these guys certainly look up to on the field and off the field. And you know, anytime a guy goes down, it has an impact, but you can just see from everybody's reaction just right now, just how quiet the stadium has gotten, just how much he means to this team.
And he's also a local kid. He played at Miami Northwestern, so many family and friends here as they're tending to Cam Kitchens down on the turf right now. We'll take a quick break. Right now, this is the scene happening at Hard Rock Stadium on the field as the All-American defensive back for Miami, Cam Kitchens, who is absolutely beloved by his teammates. Far aside from being one of the best players in college football and a superstar defensive back who has played a tremendous game, he is a tremendous leader in this program, a tremendous leader off the field, a guy who has galvanized this team to try to find greater success. And he took a big hit at the end of the last play, and the medical staff has been out there to check on him, as you see the cart. And this has been going on for many, many minutes as a crowd who is in such a celebratory mood has grown silent and in thought for Cam Kitchens. Kitchens, who's always described as the first one in the building and the last one to leave to give everything he can to this program. Let's take this opportunity to return to the studio.
Tess, thank you so much. Going to keep an eye on the situation there. Our thoughts with the young man as we get you set, of course, for a game that's coming up later in prime time on ABC. Cam Ward, who was fantastic for Washington State. Keep an eye on the Cougars. A lot of people talking about all the teams in the Pac-12. Washington State, one of those quiet teams, and they're looking for an upset of Wisconsin tonight.
And going against a Luke Fickell defense led by Wisconsin's head coach, that's going to give him a lot of different things to look at. Want him to be able to see things and get the ball out of his hands quickly.
And from Wisconsin's perspective, you look at this Phil Longo offense. Are they going to open it up? Luke Fickell wants to run the football and be physical, but Phil Longo loves the up-tempo. So how does that mesh?
Yeah, by the way, we've seen Wisconsin. They've run the football. That was the storyline last week in the debut of Luke Fickell, and we will see how this plays out. Back in the studio, Dan Orlovsky, Booger McFarland, and Kevin Nagandi here as we are keeping an eye, of course, on what's happening in Tuscaloosa. First time Texas and Alabama meeting in Tuscaloosa since 1902. And this is the year before Texas gets into the SEC. So this is a preview of what we potentially will see in the conference with Texas right now up 3-0 against Alabama.
And early on, Texas has kind of controlled this game. They got nothing but a field goal to show for it. Gotten a couple bad plays for Alabama. How are you going to manufacture some offense? Is Milroe going to be able to throw the football down the field? Right now, he's doing it all with his legs.
It'll be interesting to see how Jalen Milroe responds.
Yeah.
Early on in this football game, doesn't see the coverage, throws the interception. Now, if you're Texas defensive, you're going, we're going to start giving you a bunch of different looks. And Tommy Rees, the new play caller at Alabama, how can he settle Jalen in to kind of erase that memory of the turnover?
I'm not overhyping this when I say this, but when you look at Texas's roster, this is the best and most talented roster they've had since 2010.
Yeah.
There are a ton of NFL scouts watching this game in Tuscaloosa. And, of course, we'll keep you up to date as right now the Longhorns are up 3-0. Let's go back to South Florida. Tess, take it away.
Well, the unfortunate situation we're dealing with here at Hard Rock as the medical team has just moved the All-American safety Cam Kitchens on a stretcher onto the cart. Now, just for perspective and to understand what this young man means to this community and to this team and to this program, far beyond his play on the field. This is a young man that last week, just getting ready for the season, took time prior to playing the first game of the season to do community outreach, dealing with his old elementary school in town, Little River Elementary School, helping them with his nonprofit organization, and feeding the hungry. Prior to last week's season opener, he was delivering food throughout Miami with 2 other teammates to help feed the hungry. He does beach cleanups. He helps out at an animal shelter. He works for Operation Christmas Child. That is Cam Kitchens, far beyond the impact he's made today. And that is why his teammates are gathered in thought and prayer and hope after what they just saw as he was laying on the field, seemingly motionless, and taking off on a cart. Katie.
Tess, I was able to watch him as they carted him back to the locker room. He was awake and he was talking to the athletic trainers, which is a very positive sign.
Katie, I want to ask you a question of observation. And having dealt with this situation many times before, both in broadcasting, football at every level, and of course ringside for boxing, did you notice any movement of his extremities as he was leaving the field?
I did not, Tess.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I did not witness that as of right now, but I will, of course, try to get you an update, and hopefully it's a positive one as soon as I have it.
And obviously, he is going to be brought to Jackson Memorial Hospital, which is close by, and this area of Metro Miami, Fort Lauderdale, is equipped with some of the best trauma centers in the country. We are back to action, as difficult as that can be to try to return and juxtapose the situation of the story we're dealing with framed against the final moments of a football game.
Well, you know, moments like that, it just doesn't seem anymore like it's about wins and losses. Your thoughts and prayers just go out to Cam Kitchens and his family. You can just see by looking at the sideline just the emotional toll it's taken on the Miami Hurricanes here late in this game.
Wigman on second down, incomplete.
And so for Texas A&M, obviously, you need 2 scores You need 2 touchdowns. You got 2 timeouts. And it's got to happen. And Wigman's been taking some big shots. 2 throws ago, he took a massive hit from Jared Harrison Hunt. He's shown his toughness in this game, being willing to stay in the pocket and try and deliver the football vertically down the field. But in that toughness, it's going to get challenged here late at a critical time.
Wigman on 3rd and 10 as he quickly gets it out to Evan Stewart.
Just a lot of cushion out there on Stewart right now. At the time it was Jaden Davis, the Oklahoma transfer at cornerback, and again, Wigman's going to take that. If you just give him these 10-yard throws on the sidelines and stop the clock in a 2-minute situation, game clock stops, and it's really important in this 2-minute situation that they're being cognizant and they're going fast.
There's Mari Daniels, 1.5 minutes to play here. We just mentioned that this area in South Florida is equipped with so many outstanding medical facilities, and the update we were just given on Cam Kitchens is that he's going to be brought to one of them now. The change is that he'll be brought to the Ryder Trauma Center, which is well equipped to handle the situation that we all just saw unfold. And our thoughts and prayers with Cam and his family and this program right now, as they will have obviously a night of great concern ahead in observing Cam and his medical situation. Incomplete, looking for Evan Stewart.
Another throw in that last one, Joe, where Wigman had to kind of turn baseball mode and sidearm that in between 2 defenders. So there's Lance Guidry, Miami's new defensive coordinator, who's called a pretty good game tonight, I think. He's been mixing up his looks, pressure and coverage. And here right now, hoping that athleticism up front with stunts and twists and movement can get home to Wigman.
3rd down and 8. Here's that corner cat blitz as he nearly lost his footing, but somehow got it to Stewart as Stewart's inside the 20 and brings it down to the 10-yard line. Very talented Evan Stewart continues to have a huge start to the season. He goes for 28 yards.
That was a perfect throw by Wigman. Look how far he slips again. Look how far out his legs were. He had no base underneath him. That was just all arm talent, and he put it right on the number 1.
Stewart has 142 yards receiving on 11 catches. 1st and goal, Wigman to the back of the end zone. That is too much. This was quite the battle today, wasn't it? With 2 teams that really, they knew they were different, and they felt like they were gathering momentum. And we were going to find out something about both. And obviously, listen, Texas A&M doesn't pull off some miracle here. This season is not lost, but what a boost for Miami to come out and play this way against this level of competition. 62 seconds remain. Aggies still with hope. Far beyond Daniels.
Well, I think the fact that Miami was able to weather the storm, right? You muff a punt early,
yes.
You get one blocked. You know, you're just spotting the other team points. You go 3 and out twice on offense, and you find yourself in a hole, but you just keep fighting, right? And one of the things that Mario Cristobal has tried to bring to this team is not just physical toughness, but mental toughness as well, and fighting through adversity. I was talking to Katie before the 4th quarter. Let's just go. Let's just lay it all on the line. And on the scoreboard, this 4th quarter, this has been their best quarter in the game.
That access that he gave to Katie was something, and it spilled over into the 4th quarter. Incomplete on 3rd and goal when he said, we're trained for this. We're built for this. Let's go.
You need one more play now on defense, Joe. 4th down. We've seen a couple pressures here. Again, in this area of the field, down in the red zone, when they're bringing one more that Texas A&M can block. So if you're Bobby Petrino calling plays, you got to anticipate that and have a plan to get the ball out of Wigman's hands quickly, whether it's moving the pocket, changing the launch point.
4th and goal. Wigman fading back to the 20, and that ball is intercepted. That is to Corey Couch with the pick to finish off the day for Miami.
Another blitz, pressure in Wigman's face by Leonard Taylor, forcing Wigman to just kind of drift backwards. Hadn't thrown an interception in college football before coming into this game, and that now his 2nd pick. Just not able to step into this. Didn't have the velocity he needed. Ball kind of trailed. Corey Couch makes another massive play. And Joe, that's it. That's the signature win for Mario Cristobal. His first big win as Lance Guidry can exhale a sigh of relief.
Hey, Lance Guidry, this is a hot defensive coordinator now. Remember last year at Marshall, he's the D-cord that shut down Notre Dame.
Yeah.
When they pulled that upset.
And it's not a gimmick defense, Joe.
No.
Right? They line up in man coverage. They blitz you. They challenge you. They don't have a lot of mental busts. They've been impressive tonight.
As now you put it into perspective, Jesse, there's recruiting momentum. There's talent acquisition momentum down at the U.
Yep.
And people are going to look around and say, hey, this is about as big a win as they've had now since 2017. They have not fared well against ranked opponents, Miami, in recent years. They got Notre Dame some years ago, but internally, we will tell you this win against this team matters in terms of belief and confidence.
No doubt. And listen, like for a program that's won 5 national championships, it's been pretty mediocre around here for the last 18 years, but people just want to know that things are moving in the right direction. And after today's result against the talented Texas A&M team, I think Miami fans feel that way.
Tyler Van Dyke with 5 touchdown passes, 48-33 Canes. For Katie and Jesse, I'm Joe Tessitore. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for joining us from Miami.